Alright, hello. Welcome to VCS, or Vice City Stories. Yay. Alright, I'm wolfbloxer06, here to run this game. I have two lovely people joining me. First we have Scalar, if you want to say hey.
Hi.
And I've also got Pizza for Life.
Hey,
So if you guys want to say anything about yourselves.
I'll go ahead and start. My name is Scalar. I used to run this game. I used to be the world record holder for this game for a little while, and then I stopped running it accidentally. I will turn this over to Pizza for Life.
Hey, I'm Pizza for Life. I'm a variety GTA speed walker, I would say, but I play this game with the no major glitches category, so none of the advanced stuff we'll see here today. But I also play a variety of other GTA games.
And I don't know if this is actually, I shouldn't say this, but I know that this has been run by Joshimus at a marathon before, but I don't know if it's been run since the any percent category.
Yeah, the Japanese version has not been played at a marathon. We are playing the Japanese version today, though, for a trick later in the game, and also some other perks we'll talk about during the run. We've got a very generous estimate, so is there anything else you want to say before we get started?
I think I am good. Pizza?
Let's do this.
Alright, so game rules require a couple things. One, that recording must show the startup of the game. Two, that we have to have this specific starter save with specific requirements. And three, in the top right you'll see some numbers. That's FPS counter and some other things, I believe. Those hopefully won't get in the way too much, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Time starts once I press this button here, so if y'all are ready, 3,
Ready.
2, 1, go. So, we start off in this mission, which is called Soldier. Very basic name. I'm gonna look behind here to try and spawn some soldiers in front of me. And we got one. Maybe not. Good start. We want to kill one of these guys because they drop a very good gun. This is the M4, I believe.
Yeah, it's the American style assault rifle. Every GTA game more or less has an AK and an American style assault rifle.
Right. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about this game?
I can go ahead and take that. So, who are we and what are we doing? Vice City Stories, the game that we see right now, is a prequel to the game Vice City, which takes place in 1984. Which, of course, if you know Vice City, that takes place in 1986. So this takes place 2 years before Vice City and tries to provide a little bit of the backstory and answer some of the lingering questions that were left from the original Vice City game. We are playing as Victor Vance, Lance Vance's brother from that game, and in this mission, we have a little bit of backstory saying that we joined the army to help pay for our brother Pete's medical bills. So what we are going to do at the very start is pretty normal. There's not really a whole lot that's different about this particular mission, but as soon as we finish this mission, we're going to do the very first stoop.
Yeah. They also put us right immediately in the water because infamously in Vice City, you can't swim. But in this game, you can swim. So we're going to go ahead and do this death fort. This is why I picked up the very powerful M4. We're going to shoot this this Patriot, get in it, and this will immediately kill us and warp us to the nearest hospital in Little Havana. So let's talk a little bit about the Japanese version. As you can see, game's in Japanese. So there's a few things. One, because Japanese characters a little shorter than the Latin alphabet. So, like English and such. Pagers are faster. The second thing is it allows us to do a trick later on. The third thing, it gives us 4 times the amount of health over the international version, so US, European. There's a lot. So, we're gonna get something called an On Mission Zero Rampage. We're gonna start Vigilante, this cop I will use throughout the run a lot, and we're gonna stand on top of a rampage that you may have seen while it's approaching, cancel Vigilante on top of it, and that will give us an On Mission Zero Rampage. Do one of you talk about the On Mission variable?
Yes. So the way the game keeps track of whether or not you are on a mission or not on a mission is with a variable called on mission, obviously. So if it's set to 0, we're not on a mission, and 1 means that we are on a mission, similar to a light switch. If the light switch is off, then the lights are off, and if the light switch is on, then the lights are assumed on. If you use Vigilante and a Rampage to force on mission to be 0 after we start the next mission, Cleaning House, what's going to happen is that the game is going to think that we are not on a mission while we are, which will allow us to start another mission. And conveniently for us, we can start the same mission twice. The way the game is going to keep track of that is it's going to think that we completed 2 missions of the current mission strand, which is for Jerry Martinez. Whenever we do that, that helps us go a lot faster than we normally would playing the game casually. This is how the game would differ from the no major glitches category. It's the most exciting thing about this category, as well as doing the duping, as well as the crazy tricks and all of the weird stuff that happens whenever you do dupe the missions. And what we see at the current moment is Wolf is currently trying to complete this rampage. Whenever you complete the rampage, it's going to set the on-mission variable to 0. He's going to start the mission, complete the rampage, he'll get set on mission 0 from that, start the mission again, and he will go back to on mission 1 to be able to dupe the mission and complete 2 copies at once.
Yeah, I hit this weird thing on the side of the army base that sometimes can send you flying into it. It just set me flying on top of it, which is still fast. So there, we completed the rampage after starting the mission Cleaning House. We have duped the mission now.
Something that you may have noticed about the rampage that we just completed is that there was no blood. That is also another difference about the Japanese version, is that there are some censorship differences between the international and the US releases. There are some changes, such as not being able to shoot any NPCs while they are on the ground. That was something that Wolf encountered a little bit there in that rampage, is that sometimes the Cholos would dive and you wouldn't be able to shoot them anymore. But as we continue, we are going to go over to Phil Cassidy's. If you remember Phil Cassidy from the original Vice City game, and we are going to see some crazy effects of the dupe.
Oh yeah. Back at the armory base, I could have gotten another M16 with some extra ammo. Well, more than just a clip would have done fine. But I wanted to show off this strat that I like a lot. It's very funny. And this can only be done when it's duped. By the way, I am leaning forward, tapping my joystick forward, and also holding it in a certain way. Leaning forward a bit on bikes allows us to go a little faster. There's 2 people in that cutscene, there's 2 Phils, there's 2 trucks, it's chaos. Because of the dupe, there's some extra dudes in this guy. That's a copy of Phil. He drops this gun, the M249. It is a very powerful weapon. Probably second most powerful non-explosive weapon, only being beat by the minigun, which we'll see later on.
I'd say you got pretty lucky with that dupe. Sometimes the trucks are in a way that you can't really get them, like, it takes a really long time to get the trucks free.
That reminds me, I am playing on an emulator. You can play this on real hardware, it's just very difficult to find. I'm gonna go ahead and mute my game here, because there's some copyrighted music that can play here, and I don't want any issues to occur. I'm gonna use this M249 to, take out... Oh, hello.
Are we going to take the fancy Cholo car?
Nope, they're stuck inside of each other, as usual.
Oh. Whoops.
I'm waiting for them to explode because I don't feel like getting blown up by them. We're going to run inside here because the game tells us to, and there's a couple guys we should shoot here. Alright.
Interestingly enough, like on real hardware, this scene is very laggy, but it looks like on emulator it's not as laggy.
Should be able to go ahead and unmute here. We want to... Ooh, yes. Uh-oh.
Get your bitch ass hands off of me.
Okay. This is very lucky that we got this vehicle here. Infernus, one of the fastest cars in the game. It's a very good sports car. Normally, I don't get anything there. So I have to take a police car, which can end in me getting busted. Or, killed, or something like that. Or lose wheels and such. But getting this here is very lucky because A, it's fast, and B, it's a little less risky with the police.
You were also very lucky because the police were shooting at you and they didn't pop your tires. If you didn't know anything about this game as well, the tire popping is random, so if you get shot at, or if you shoot at the car, it's a complete random chance whether or not the tire pops, which is kind of infuriating sometimes.
Here's the launch again. Oh,
Yeah, so as soon as we complete this mission, the very next mission is supposed to be Conduct Unbecoming, and that's where Vic is supposed to get kicked out of the army for reasons that you can see if you play the game. But conveniently, we skip that mission by doing this dupe. And the effects of completing that mission are still applied, such as the application of our street clothes and some of the new voice lines and a new safe house that we get. So I will turn this back over to Wolf.
alright, so we're getting on this bike, death warping with it. If we had lots more health during that dupe, we could have just had the soldiers shoot us a few times and killed us, but... Welcome back to the ambulance, and welcome to Blue Shirt Vic. Now we're going to do a couple normal missions before getting back into the on mission zero nonsense. Do you want to talk a little bit about the story, Pizza? Where we're at right now?
Yeah, so this is basically the game does 3 little missions to set you up to understand Vic as a soldier, and then it basically immediately pulls the rug out of you, under you, and you start working on your own private life, and like working on some assorted odd jobs, starting with Phil, and then for a couple of Phil's acquaintances, which culminates in at the end of Act 1, which we'll get to a little later, with some other basically story development from there, leading to Act 2, where other key characters we remember from Vice City are coming back. Foreshadowing.
Dun, dun, dun.
But yeah, it was just a quick little, hey, look, you're a soldier. Then you're not a soldier anymore.
So this...
So the overall premise of this mission, Cholo Victory, is that we drive around and we are going to take Phil to look for some Cholo. We're only going to find one in this mission, and he can be a bit of a pain to chase around, and he is obviously going to waste a lot of our time. But other than that, there's nothing really too complicated about how we execute this mission. So nothing at the police station, but as soon as we go to this next destination, the hospital, we will find our Cholo friend. This mission will teach you about how to use the pay and spray mechanic. Phil is obviously going to say that his truck is too damaged once we are done, and to get the car repaired. So we will see, of course, how to use the pay and spray in this game.
It's
Also-
interesting, too, this exact premise of a mission shows up throughout a variety of games. Basically, this is the trying to do a tutorial. Here's the hospital. Here's the police station. Here's the pay and spray. Basically, every GTA game introduces these in one or more missions. Like GTA 3 does Drive Misty for me, which is, hey, go pick up this girl from the hospital. Basically, they're trying to do some tutorial stuff as your life as a civilian, without trying to be too overbearing about it.
So there's one of 2 main routes he can take. You can obviously, it's completely random. He can go off into a few other routes, but the first turn he makes most important, because most of the time it'll determine which pay and spray we use. There's a north pay and spray and a south pay and spray. You can see that they just switched on the map a moment ago. I'm not entirely sure which way is faster. I know in 100% the north pay and spray is faster. Because you can do an extra collectible during the mission that way. That's normally a little out of the way. But he went the other way, so I'm going to use the south pay spray.
I can't really comment on which one is faster. I mean, I guess it just really depends on which one you are closest to, but I'd say the north pay and spray is probably preferable because there's such a long stretch of road. Whereas to get to the south pay and spray, there's a lot of winding turns that you had to take.
Right. We're going to go ahead and finish this mission now and do another normal mission. We'll be introduced to another new character who we'll be seeing for a good while.
If you run this game on the international release, you would have to save and quit after Cholo Victory because one of the differences of the Japanese version, as well as the PS2 version in some respects, is that the game is a little bit more stable in the Japanese and PS2 releases. If you play this on the international PSP release, the game is very likely to crash in a much later mission if you do not save and quit the game to clear the game's memory. But the next mission that we are going to go do is for a friend that we never met named Marty.
Yep. That pager there was saying, hey, my sister's husband, whatever, is looking for some work. We just picked up a stubby shotgun. We're going to be using this for the rest of the first act. It's very powerful. So here's Shakedown. Another thing about using emulator is, along with the strict requirements, there's some emulator-only glitches that can be used that are not allowed to be used in the run, however. You do have to do a couple things differently. A few things differently compared to the real hardware runs.
Also, because I don't run emulator, I run on the actual like PSTV console.
Okay, we're here.
Right. There are still several perks. Like one, you can use whatever controller you want. I'm using an Xbox Series X controller. On a PSTV, you have to use some PlayStation controller. Usually PS3 or PS4, I believe works. There was another thing. Oh, right. Sometimes the audio can bug out in the game, and there'll just be a random audio sound on a loop, and it won't go away unless you quit the game or if you pause and unpause, because pausing and unpausing kills audio, whatever audio is playing at the time. So you can skip lines during it. It's not really helpful in any circumstance in this run. I think it's helpful at like 1 point in 100%. But this is the second store on Shakedown. We're going to use the shotgun to smash some, I don't know what you'd call this, some form of container. There's 3 cholos that come in. The first 2 we don't really care about, but this third one can sometimes be a little weird. But luckily, no problem. We're picking up this pistol ammo for later on. We didn't waste any shotgun bullets there, thankfully. And now we're going to get back into some On Mission Zero stuff.
Excellent. So as Wolf had mentioned, the next mission we are going to do on Mission Zero. The next mission is called Fear the Repo. And for optimization purposes, we are going to do something called On Mission Zero chaining through the next few missions, which will allow us to do some fancy duping in the next couple of missions as well. So, if you need a reminder, if you go on Mission 0 during a mission, the game does get confused about which mission you should have passed when you complete it. For this first chapter, the way the on Mission 0 chaining works, a simplified model that helps us understand which mission it will be is the most recently unlocked mission chain that's still on the map. So our rampage timer is going to run out in the middle of this mission, meaning that we're going to go on Mission 0. Marty is the most recently unlocked chain that is still on the map. So passing this mission on Mission 0 will pass this mission. However, that's not always going to be the case, which means that you can pass something that's completely different. And we're going to use that fact later on several times. A lot in Act 2 and a lot in Act 3, which we will point that out, and it's going to be very obvious when we do that.
I just want to say, we just got raided. Thank you.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Fear the Repo. This is a big reset point. Because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. This first car is completely chill. It's parked in the same place always. This guy doesn't really give you any problem. I heard something about him stealing a vehicle and chasing you on later, but I've never seen him. So, I'm not entirely sure how much of a problem he could be. But
You've gotten very lucky for that to not happen to you. That happens to me all the time.
I mean, I don't get flipped trucks on Cleaning House ever either, so I think that also may be just emulator.
He's supposed to take something that's on the road whenever you steal his cheetah. He's supposed to take something like a Boxville or whatever those huge trucks are, or anything that's just on, on the street, such as a police bike.
Right. Speaking of getting things on the road, after this mission, we need a vehicle to spawn fairly quickly. Otherwise, there'll be some issues. We may have to wait for 2 minutes after this mission, because I'll have to restart the rampage. Because there isn't exactly a comfortable place to save for a while, because we're doing a lot of chaining. So there's no real saves for that. So we will likely just have to restart a new On Mission 0 rampage and just wait for a while. That second car can go a few different routes. He went a good route, thankfully. We're going to take our Sanchez that we brought here. The Sanchez spawn in the trailer park is very useful for the first act. And now we're going to restart the rampage and do the last vehicle, which is a van. The first 2 vehicles, if you damage them to a certain point, you actually have to pan spray because Marty doesn't want them super damaged. This van can get damaged much more than the other vehicles, but if they're carrying, what are they, TVs?
TVs and stereos.
Right. There's a car there that can sometimes screw me, but luckily we're okay. This drive, it can be very scary. If you fall off more than once, it's kind of GG. but luckily we didn't have any issues. I want to run over both of the guys here, but if I don't, that's okay. We did manage to get both of them. If I didn't, I would have just had to run around to the passenger side and get in. Otherwise, one or both of the guys would have pulled me out. This cop car is not liking me driving this van. Wonderful. We've got 2 stars here, which usually isn't much of a problem. There are
That is also another change with the Japanese version as well. Sorry. You get wanted levels a lot more easily in the Japanese version compared to the international releases. So if you shoot a gun, you're much more likely to get 1 star. If you shoot a bunch of people on a mission or something, you're much more likely to get 2 or 3 stars, which can make the game a lot harder since the police are going to come after you a lot harder as well.
Yeah, there's 2 missions later on, Jive Drive and Purple Haze, that normally in the international version, yes, I got a car, except it ran me over. That normally you would get 2 stars in the international version, but you get 3 stars in this version. Purple Haze, there is a strat to just get 2 stars that I will be attempting. Jive Drive, however, there is none, so I'll likely be paint and spraying there for safety. But that is a ways away. For now, we are starting the 3rd mission, Waking Up the Neighbors. If you or Pizza Scaler want to talk about 3 vans missions.
I can take that. In every GTA game, there has to be some kind of 3 vehicles mission, at least in the 3D era GTA games, and this one happens to be it. We're going to do this mission twice. Once where we go on mission 0, and once where we complete it on mission 1. So we just saw that the rampage timer ran out. What's going to happen is that we're going to pick up another rampage timer to go back on mission 1. And what's going to happen is that we are going to exploit a glitch in the PSP version only, which is if we go out of bounds in a specific corner, we flip every single vehicle. And it doesn't have to be this specific corner. There are many places on the map that you can go out of bounds. But when you do go out of bounds, every vehicle that's loaded will flip over. And we should be able to see that the Sanchez that we have flipped over as well.
Hello?
When the vans flip over, that should cause all of them to blow up, and when they blow up, that passes the mission automatically.
Uh-oh. Vic, please? Might have to do a thing where we, okay.
Do you want to rotate the camera so that you're not pointed as directly to the corner?
I just kind of wing it. I don't know about the strats there, but it's fine as long as the second one doesn't do that, because we need to run or drive over to the police station and start Vigilante on the cop bike before the rampage ends. Which
you have about 30 seconds of leeway.
It's really that much?
If you go fast, yes.
So, you want to talk a little bit about cinematic cutscenes at the beginning of missions and vehicles? With the despawn.
So there's a reason why Wolf had to park the bike in a very specific spot. With the cutscene that we just had, there is a bit of a despawn radius that the bike can appear, or it can be despawned in. And it just so happens parking a little bit before that light post will allow it to stay loaded, but if he parks a little bit too close, it would unload. We do want to keep the Sanchez as much as we possibly can. With some of the more cinematic cutscenes, we do encounter situations where all vehicles that we had are going to be unloaded. That cutscene that we just watched is non-cinematic. It's it's kind of just like a situation where the game is playing a cutscene using the overworld itself rather than an actual cutscene that it designed.
Vigilante duping. My favorite part of the run, but not really. We just duped Vigilante there, and then we canceled one instance to pick up the On Mission 0 Rampage again. We have one instance still running. I want these two timers to be going at the same time. The bottom is a counter, or a timer waiting for me to get back on the bike for Vigilante. Vigilante will fail once that timer runs out. And then we also have a normal Rampage timer. This is the mission, O Brother, Where Art Thou, or Abwat for short. We want to start this about 1 second remaining on the bottom timer. We want to walk into this pink marker. 3, 2, 1. And then it cancels, and then we pick up that marker again in this fade. And there's 2 Martys there indicating we successfully duped the mission. However, we still have a rampage timer going. When that counts down, we'll be on mission 0 on the duped mission. We're going to take this Sanchez since we have about a minute. And we're going to go park it over here at this business site, if you remember from Fear the Repo. We come back here during the next mission to Victor the Spoils. We'll explain a little bit more about that mission and its significance. We're going to park that Sanchez there in a fairly specific spot, because we're going to use the same Sanchez for this mission and the next mission. However, it will be taken from us at a certain point during the next mission, and we want a vehicle to continue on the rest of the mission with. So hopefully that bike won't despawn.
It looked good. I think it should be fine.
Yeah, it should be fine. I think it's probably more, there's probably more leeway than I think there is. We're going to snap Marty's neck here just to keep the story relevant, because he's actually an antagonist later on, but we skip the mission where he is killed. Actually, this 3x triple troop, whatever you want to call it, skips that mission, because it skips 2 Louise missions. We skipped the first Louise mission with waking up the neighbors on mission 0. That was When Fun Day Comes. We're skipping taking out the white trash and divorce, which is the mission where Marty is killed. It is normally the second to last mission in the act, and then to Victor the Spoils is the last mission in the act. But with some sequence breaking, we can say no. Pizza, you want to talk a little bit about the end of the act, wrapping things up, Marty and Martinez?
I forget how Martinez plays into this exactly. Basically, the end of Act 1 is killing Marty and starting to work with Luis to take over his business empire. Because if we played all the missions in this, a lot of it is working on learning how the, like, again, in this form of a tutorial, learning how the business empire sites work, which are a huge part of Vice City Stories' unique mechanic, because no other GTA game does it this way. But what ends up happening here later on is, like, if the story was played out normally, is you kill Marty. Like, there's a specific mission where you have to save Luis and kill Marty. And then, after doing that, you have to work to take over all of his business sites to start your own empire. There also come a point later on in Act 3 where we have to take over 3 more business sites in order to have enough businesses to do... There's a number of missions in Act 3 that revolve around you having a little business empire.
Fun fact.
What else?
We don't do that mission.
Right. So the story doesn't make any sense in your universe, but I can tell you how it's supposed to work. And basically what's going on here too, Martinez was your sergeant in the army who had you do all those missions, and he is working against you and Phil now, because originally the way it worked out, like the way that you met Phil was as a friend of Victor's, but Phil works for Victor and eventually gets screwed over by him.
Martinez.
Or Martinez, rather, yes. Victor Martinez. Or not Victor Martinez. Martinez, my bad. Anyway, so what ends up happening is that happens, and Martinez gets set up as the big bad for the game. And comes up and causes a number of disturbances until the very end.
Yep. And again, we actually don't kill any of the main antagonists with this dupe fest of a run. So we have to keep the story straight by killing Marty there. So we just finished Allbot 3X. What I did was I went inside the interior, completed the first instance on mission 1, which completed Ober the Well Art Thou. We had 2 more instances left. The first one skipped taking out the white trash, and the second one skipped divorce, because you can't be in 3 interiors at once.
And again, that's because Louise was the most recently unlocked mission chain on the map.
Right. So this is to Victor the Spoils. This is the 4th Louise mission. Usually the last mission in the act when we don't completely break the game. That Allbot 3X definitely does save a lot of time and allows some strats later on to work. These 2 guys we're supposed to recruit and use for the mission, but we just leave them behind. We're a great leader. And here's the point where that bike we parked will come in handy, because we're going to take over this business site as well. But instead of taking over for Marty, we're taking it over from Marty. This mission's normally celebrating Marty's death and such, and taking over his empire. We're using the shotgun again. Ooh, got both of them at once.
And you'll notice that our bike is now gone, which is why we have to use the bike that we parked earlier.
Right. And now we're gonna go over and take Marty's second business site, which is a little more scary because they actually have SMGs, a couple of them. I'm gonna take their SMGs, at least one of them, for safety later on. We're gonna get launched a little bit. Wow.
There's a cool strat you can do here where you just throw a grenade and it takes all of them out at once, but it's very random if you get it or not.
Do you even have grenades at this point?
You can get them if you are really slow with waking up the neighbors.
Ah.
It's also worth noting that in the PSP titles, and I can't speak to the PS2 titles, but it may be similar. Thrown items can be very random in terms of what they do. They kind of have a mind of their own. Like, they don't fire straight on, and since you don't have an aiming reticule, you kind of just get stuck with whatever they feel like doing.
Whew, I golded that mission.
So Molotovs
Nice.
are powerful, but they can cause you some grief.
Oh yes, Molotovs in this game are very broken. We'll get to them later, but now we're going to do another dupe. This is the last normal, simple dupe of the run. Every dupe from this point on is very complex, whether in terms of the mission gets really weirded out or duping the mission itself. This dupe, however, is a huge coin flip. It can go very wrong, but I do have safety saves in case it goes wrong once we actually dupe the mission. If somehow this rampage goes wrong, because, for example, we get a 1 level and get busted, we should be able to just death warp and try again. Because of how stable this game is, we don't need to save and quit if we fail a dupe, thankfully. We're taking the Sanchez just to get up to the road a little faster, because we're going to complete this rampage again. This rampage and all other rampages in the game can be replayed. That is a feature only VCS has. You cannot replay rampages in the other games unless you start a new game. We used that rampage a lot in this run, especially in the first act, sir. I'd greatly appreciate if you stopped trying to hit me with your nightstick.
I'd say you're fairly brave parking the bike that close or that far away. Because if you do it close to the road, you end up in a situation where the cholos or the police could, pop the bike's tires.
It's actually usually farther than I park it. I'll make note of that. There's a lot of minor optimizations that I just don't know about, mainly because no one runs this game. There's probably a lot of more minor optimizations that could be found, but again, no one runs this game. It is not anywhere near as popular as, say, Vice City, or even LCS is a little more popular, mainly because LCS is a more popular game, Liberty City Stories. I am going to be running that tomorrow as well, and we'll see some similar memes with duping and such when we get there. So we just completed the rampage with a little bit of time to spare. If I ever don't complete a rampage in time for when I do want to complete a rampage, I will have to go and pay and spray because I'll likely have a 3 or 4 star wanted level by that point. For example, on Truck Stop dupe, the next dupe, it's kind of tight, so I may not be able to complete the rampage. Where am I going?
So here's where the storyline does get a little bit crazy. God Protection, even though Marty is technically considered dead in the storyline at this point, we are doing another mission for him. What's going to happen in this mission, you're going to see it's going to be incredibly absurd, is that we have lots of cars and lots of cholos, and we have 3 girls that we need to rescue. We need to drive around and rescue them. Casually, the mission is not very hard. The health bar that the girls have is supposed to run out really slowly, and you only have just a couple of guys shooting at you. But when you do the mission, you have twice of everything. You have twice the amount of cars, twice the amount of cholos, and your health bar goes down twice as fast.
On emulator, it actually goes down even faster. I think it's almost 3x.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's awful.
Rip.
It's very tight to do this mission. I'm going to take a safer route that has us encounter less cholos, but there's still a fairly hefty chance that this will fail. Very nervous about this mission. As you can see, it's going to become chaotic right about now. they've already popped one of my tires. She got in the wrong door. However, as you can notice, my passenger shoots very quickly with her, what does she have, an Uzi? Drive-bys in this game by AI, they shoot like once a frame. It's very chaotic, but
Yeah, it's completely broken.
yeah, we actually get to use that really fast drive-by later on when we have an auto-scroller with an Uzi. Oh, she's stuck under the car. Hello, friend.
Yeah, because the mission duped, she got stuck under the car because the duped cars spawned on top of each other and one fell on her.
Jeez.
When we dupe past this mission, this is a type of dupe that we need to talk about. Is this dupe does not pass on the same frame. All of the other dupes that we've done do pass on the same frames. If they do not pass on the same frame, we could pass a different mission, like we talked about. We're going to pass Got Protection here. And since Phil is the only character still left on the map, Boomshine Blowout, which is a really long and annoying mission that involves driving around a forklift, that is also going to get passed here. And I should also mention that we only have one mission left in Chapter 1.
Technically, we have 2, but we're gonna dupe to skip the other one.
Yep.
So after Act 1, the way on Mission 0, going on Mission 0 on a mission works becomes very different. Instead of, like, say you pass the mission on Mission 0, or you go on Mission 0 at any point during mission and pass it, instead of passing the highest unlocked strand, it will always pass an Umberto mission. Umberto is a character that has 4 missions in the second act. However, it stays like that for the entire game, even in Act 3. So we have to do some weird things to get around it, and it won't always work out. I did get very lucky there. If someone gets in the back seat there, they can switch seats sometimes. That's very lucky because the third girl I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I muscle memory got protection dupe. That's fine. I've muscle memory a lot of things I shouldn't have. There's been a few times where on Soldier, when you pull out of the army base, you normally go to the right. I've muscle memory doing that a lot of times before on Cleaning House, where you drive to the left. I'm not great with muscle memory, but I pull through it. It's fine. So we're going to go ahead and start this mission, which is Truck Stop. With the Rampage running, we're not going to complete anything before it. We're just going to skip through. There's a bunch of cutscenes, and now we're going to look behind. Vic is running very weirdly, and that's to spawn some of these cholos, because if we didn't look behind, there wouldn't be any. We have duped this game, so there's a few less than what we normally have, say on Cleaning House, like right at the beginning of the game. Sometimes on emulator, auto aim can just bug, as you saw right there, and your gun will just refuse to shoot. Seems to happen mainly with the pistol, but I've had it happen with a few other weapons like the M249, which we'll see much later on. We actually saw it at the beginning of the game as well. It can happen sometimes there. Well, it just will refuse to shoot until we go into manual aim. I'm going to go ahead and finish this Rampage, and if you want to talk a little bit about Truck Stop Dupe and PACBA, I'll give you that.
So this dupe is also very much an easy run killer. If you skip the cutscenes incorrectly, you will soft block the game. The perennial can also flip and cause you to fail a dupe. The truck you need to stop and take over later in the mission can also blow up before you even get there. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong here.
Another perk.
We are going to...
Another
Go
perk
ahead.
of emulator, I can use keyboard if I need to time something. Like, I can spam much faster using spacebar than a controller, so I'm going to use that to time this dupe. And
need
use
to
that to
concentrate.
time. I think I'm fine, though. Don't flip. It's on its side. That actually is probably fine. Oh, nope, it flipped itself. Okay. Perennials didn't flip. That's not the end of it, though. So we're going to get in here. I'm going to switch my controller setup to setup 2. That allows us to turn while drive-bying and looking behind. Control setup 1, which is what I play with mainly, does not allow us to do that. It's a little slow switching, but it's preference.
for note, the main reason there are the two control schemes is because the PlayStation Portable only had one joystick, the left one. So on a normal PS2 game, you have a right stick which normally does camera, and left stick normally does motion. Here they had to come up with weird compromises. They give you different control schemes using the shoulder buttons, or you can choose to have like a manual aim mode. Basically, they're just working around the fact that you have a limited control scheme.
Alright, so these trucks can spawn very weird. If the icon changes to an up arrow once I enter the trailer park, I know what instance it is. It did not. So there's two main things it could be. It could be completely upside down, or it could be on its side. So I'm going to do a little safety stride and get out here. I'm not entirely sure what mess it is. Oh, wait, no, it's just stopped. Okay. I don't ever get this. I guess just do it normally. That's fine at least. No trucks got all messed up, so they're probably both driving just normally. Yeah, they are. Huh. You don't get this instance very often, but I mean, it's fine. I don't know where the other truck went, but it's somewhere, I guess.
Somewhere.
Under the map, maybe?
So,
not sure.
Yeah. So the overall premise of what we're trying to do with this dupe is we're going to do something... we're going to do another dupe where we do not pass on the same frame, and there's a way we can manipulate it so it does not pass on the same frame. There is a script that runs between chapters to reset who you've completed missions for and how many. After somebody named Powdernet helped us by graciously analyzing the game's code, we found out that there's a way you can interrupt the script by just getting into a save marker within 500 milliseconds after going on mission 0 from finishing the last mission. What we do to delay the mission enough so that we do not pass on the same frame is that whenever we are waiting for the truck to get to its destination here at the end, is that we will wait just a little bit in the final cutscene, and then we will skip the final cutscene.
Oh, heck. Uh-oh. Okay. We grab a Sanchez here, because we want to be quick after the mission. I'm looking behind to prevent the spawn of enemies. One did spawn, because I parked my car weirdly while trying to get the Sanchez. As long as no more spawn, it should be fine. This is why I grabbed the extra MAC-10. I'm going to use the ammo up now, because I don't need it. I grabbed it in case enemies did spawn and catch up, but I think we're fine, so I'm just going to use up the rest of it, because I don't need it, because I actually want to pick up a different weapon later on. So we can stop looking behind here, because it doesn't really matter, and I'm just going to finish off this MAC-10 ammo.
I don't like the MAC-10. It's the worst gun. Well, no, I think the Scorpion is also a really terrible SMG type gun.
So we're going to go ahead and time this. I am terrible at this timing, so I do have a save in case I do screw it up. That I can load if necessary. So
we'll take some quiet time.
Okay. So we should have a pager come in right about now. I'm going to drive very carefully, because we want to get over to this safe house. I'm not going to park the Sanchez. I think on Japanese version you don't even have time anyway. Okay. Whew. Okay, that looked good. We're going to restart the game using a hotkey there. Hey, alright. So, the way we can tell that we managed to do it is that there's an FU and a plane icon on the map. There's no thing in there. Why am I heading over there? Basically, what we wanted to do, I'm not sure if Scalar explained it, but we wanted to save the game 0.5 seconds after that pager ended. We can't stand directly on the save marker because it would despawn when the pager would have ended. Whew. Okay. We got past that.
You have a very small window of time to get into that save marker. If you don't get into it, then you fail the trick that we're trying to do, and you pretty much have to do the game a little bit more normally at that point. It's irrecoverable if you fail that trick.
Or
so there is a name for that trick, which is called partial act change bypass. Partial meaning that not all of the missions are completely reset, As you can see, some of them are reset, but we have a lot of missions that are available to us on the map from the get-go. We have the F, which is Forbes. We have the airplane, which is going to be Lance. And then U, which is Umberto.
So this is Jive
It's
Drive.
available now anyway. It normally doesn't happen until a little bit of time with Lance, right?
PACBA. We
What's-
completely
what's-
break the order. That's the intention of the glitches, to unlock missions like that early.
I didn't hear your question, Pizza. Can you say it again?
He was
I was
asking about why
asking-
Forbes was unlocked.
Right, because I'm more used to like a San Andreas duping situation where you can basically just pass ahead in a chain. Or like Vice City where you can just do the same mission twice. Not the complete anarchy that is this.
Yeah. This was discovered.
Yeah, the script that's supposed to clean this up doesn't finish executing completely because we get in that save marker and we save to save the act change, but we don't save the resetting of the mission strands that are completed.
Right. And that allows us to skip Louise missions. Because we had Louise in the previous act, it didn't set her chain, like, because we completed the chain, but it didn't reset it so it's uncompleted when it changed. So normally we'd have 2 extra Louise missions that we'd have to do, but we skipped them, thankfully, now that we have done PACBA. Hose the Hose and Robbing the Cradle, I believe. We wouldn't have done Robbing the Cradle anyway, because you could have duped Hose the Hose. And I'm trying to remember back to the old days. I did a complete read-through of all the PACBA discovery before this run to get an idea of it. I believe it was discovered in, what, December 2020?
December 2020 by Kaspersky.
Yeah. Right before Josh's run at ESA 2021, wasn't it? You got completely screwed by that. Here we go. So it gave us some Uzi ammo because of the mission. And I'm actually going to take a very weird route compared to most people because I want as much Uzi ammo as possible. It's just a preference of mine. I like Uzi ammo. So I get a ton of extra ammo here. Lance can decide to just say no on this mission. And we also, this is the case of 3 stars. Oh, hello, friend. We're going to take this Trollo car here. I'm going to walk a certain way around it to try and convince Lance to get in. Did he get in? He did. Okay. So, there's no way to avoid the 3 stars here. Normally, you'd have 2 stars in International, but in this case, we have 3 stars. I'm going to do a safe shot in Paint and Spray because I have a pop tire and there's a lot of cops spawning.
Paint and Spray is also pretty close to along the way, so it's not
Here's
like
a
the biggest
roadblock.
deal.
Oh. Alright. That's fine. So we're doing a couple normal missions here. This mission and the next mission we're doing completely normally. In terms of all missions, they're in duping. But then we'll get into a very fun section of the run, if you want to call it that. Oh.
A lot of missions in Act 2 and Act 3 cannot be duped on the same frame, which means we cannot skip 2 of the same mission. So that's why we don't do a whole lot of dupes. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to abuse the on mission 0 mechanic where we can technically pass a different mission than the one that we are currently on. But it's very complicated on how that works, and we will explain that whenever we get there.
Yep. So we're just heading back to the hotel. Excuse me. This car has some oversteer. The Bobcat that we drove in Shakedown has a lot of oversteer. I'm surprised we didn't spin out a ton, because normally that's what happens. Oversteer is an issue in VCS. There's some vehicles that are shared with like San Andreas, Vice City, that are not great in their games. For example, the Walton. However, they're for some reason really good in this game. It also goes the other way around. Some vehicles that are normally good in the older games are completely terrible in this game, like the Ballista Compact, which is what we took after Fear the Repo. Here's the audition. This is the second Lance mission. The first mission, Jive Drive, even though it's not the Lance icon, it is considered a Lance mission. It's in the Lance chain. If we had done Hose the Hose, there's a strat on it where we abuse fades and interiors. That would cause the mission to fail right here. However, because we skipped those missions, normally that mission's also required to unlock this mission. We don't lose that little bit of time. But now we're going to do a very, very long drive.
So the overall premise of what we're supposed to do in this mission is that we have to go pick up a car containing some fancy medicine for a guy named Forbes from a vehicle lot. We have to do it with 2 stars, of course. Are you going to take the paint spray?
Nope. I don't have an issue really with cops on this mission. If I spin out, I spin out.
Okay. For speed, we are just going to avoid the paint spray, but you can take the paint spray if you wish, because the 2 stars can get a little bit unmanageable for some runners, but it's not too difficult otherwise. You are supposed to take a specific way to get into the vehicle lot, but we are going to do a skip where we just drive up a pair of stairs and get into the impound lot a different way, which saves you having to, I don't even know how this mission is supposed to go normally. Are you supposed to, like, take a ramp?
You jump across some roofs to get there. Okay. But we just abused this little stair thing. We're going to pick up some Molotovs. You want to talk about the Molotovs?
Mr. Pizza.
How broken the Molotovs are in this game. There's a lot of weapons that are just broken in this game. Oh, they popped my tire. Here's where I want to do
Pizza
the ammo.
is on mute, but Molotovs are very powerful. If you have the international version of the game, if you throw a Molotov, you're basically guaranteed to die if you don't, like, throw it far enough.
Yeah.
In the Japanese release, you have a lot more health, so you can take a couple of Molotov hits.
If you hit that fence there, you can end the mission ever so slightly earlier. We're in a death warp now. There's going to be a pager that comes in while we die, but death warping during it will, actually, if it comes in here before I pick up my weapons, that's bad.
The neat thing is Vice City Stories is the only game that lets you buy back your weapons via bribe.
Yep. Now we're gonna do.
In San Andreas, you can unlock not losing them via dating people, but this one you can buy them back.
And then later,
Vice City LCS, you just lose them.
I think in mobile versions in LCS that you don't lose it.
Yeah, but who plays mobile?
Me. I don't know. I own the mobile game, but it's unplayable now because of updates and Rockstar's lack of caring about the game. Now we're gonna go into a segment of the run that is very repetitive, boring, but also more difficult on the Japanese version. This is one of the few times in the run where it's actually more difficult on the Japanese version than in international. Because the next mission we're gonna do, Caught as an Act, we're gonna do it 7 times. 6 times manipulating on mission 0 somehow. The 7th time we're just doing it with a rampage, carrying it through the entire mission. So we do it normally, pretty much. So we're picking up this Molotov rampage here. This is a safety strat. You can pick it up at the police station as well, but it's much safer in my opinion to go for the Molotov. Is a bit of time lost though.
The reason why it's safer is because you have a lot more leeway if you fall off the bike by taking the ramp. So if you take the rampage at the police station and you fall off the bike, you're basically really screwed at that point. You maybe have 5 to 10 seconds of leeway, but if you take that Molotov, the Molotov rampage, you have a lot more time, so that if you do fall off the bike, you have a couple more opportunities to get there safely and still be able to complete the on mission 0 chain.
Yep. This might be the first time we have to load a save, because if this mission goes wrong, it's like irrecoverable. I'm gonna start this mission now, but I'm not gonna skip the cutscene right away. I want to skip the cutscene at a very certain time. Not super precise, but I want to allow myself enough time because I want to complete the mission as the rampage timer ends. I want to complete the mission 0.5 seconds after the rampage ends. So I'm gonna skip here at 48 seconds remaining. I'm gonna hold down sprint. I've been tapping sprint throughout the run because that allows us to sprint for longer. But holding down sprint allows people to follow us like Lance. I'm gonna look to the left here to try and eliminate traffic screwing us over. That becomes more important later on. So I want to pull over Forbes without opening his trunk, because opening the trunk does something called the trunk glitch. You know about that? Do you know much about that, Scalar?
The trunk glitch is, well, I mean, I don't know if I would call it the trunk glitch. I haven't been in the scene for a while, but what happens is that as soon as the trunk opens, you have a bunch of pedestrians that are supposed to run and take a lot of the money that you have in the back of the trunk.
4 4.
I'll be quiet while you do this.
2 2 1 1 0 0. Uh-oh. I may have been too early. Okay. So there's no cop bike here, and you want to find a cop bike. There are strats in the run where you can get 2 stars and then having a cop car spawn. There's multiple places in the run you can do that. I don't like doing that because then it makes following missions very difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive to the nearest police station and pick up a cop bike from there. I'm going to start and cancel Vigilante, and if the F moves from where it is now at the north part of the map down to where I just finished the mission, I've done the skip correctly. If it doesn't, that's a problem. Actually, okay, Lance is still at the stadium, so it may have worked. Okay, I did do it. So no worries. So we just skipped the mission Money for Nothing, which is a very long mission. Kind of have to drive around, wait for some AI to do some stuff. It's just very long, very boring. It's like a 5-minute mission. But now we're gonna do Umberto skip. We're gonna skip all 4. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you have the question about how did somebody find this out, there was a newbie who was running this game, and he managed to do this trick unknowingly because he kind of got lost in the route. What ended up happening is that we saw the Twitch clip of him doing it. We're like, oh my gosh, that must be frame perfect, right? Well, I took the liberty of taking somebody's challenge to try and find a skip for something that is frame perfect. I was like, oh sure, I'll do that, right? I did find a consistent timing for if you try and skip the cutscene for the mission at 0.5 seconds with on the rampage timer remaining, then what happens is that you can pass a very specific mission in the mission chain. And as we had talked about in the last act, or the last chapter, if you pass a mission while on mission 0, it passes the most recently unlocked mission chain. Unfortunately, that does not work in Act 2 or Act 3. It will pass the current strand that is loaded into the current mission. I don't know how to describe it, but if you take a look at the mini-map, you will see that whenever you finish a mission, the icons do not come back all at once. They come back one after the other. So you can technically pass any one of the missions that are on the map. You can pass any of the Lance, Umberto, or Forbes mission, but not all of them are very easy to do. The most recent one that or the highest unlocked mission chain on the map is Forbes. And if you go on mission 0 and you pass a mission with 0.5 seconds remaining on the rampage timer, then you pass the most recent or the highest mission before the save icon will load back. And that is a very tight timing that we have available to us to be able to skip some missions.
I did not mean to throw a Molotov there. It's fine though, it's Japanese version. So I started this mission, skipped the cutscene about 10 to 9 seconds remaining, because we want to go on mission 0 during this mission. Looked to the left there, try and mess with traffic again, because we want to go on mission 0 during this mission. As I explained earlier, going on mission 0 for a prolonged amount of time during the mission, just like more than about a second even, whenever you pass that mission, it will always pass an Umberto mission for the rest of the game. So now we actually want to skip Umberto missions. So I went on mission 0 and picked up another rampage to chain into the next version. I'm going to catch Forbes here in a very specific way without opening the trunk. Well, I opened it, but it's fine at this point. I'm going to grab him out. There's plenty of leeway here. There's some backups down the road if you don't catch up to him during that intersection. I'm going to jump out of the marker there. That's a marker for another Forbes mission. We don't want to start it right now, but we will actually use that marker at the end of our cause and act chaining to skip leap and bound. So the mission we just skipped there was the first Umberto mission, Nice Package mission. Basically, you have to drive from Umberto's house in Little Havana, a little more south, all the way up to downtown, grab a package and drive all the way to the docks at the bottom of the map while a bunch of guys are shooting at you with their crazy drive-bys and like 3 stars, I believe. So, not the most fun mission.
Is it 3 stars? I thought it was 2 stars. I don't actually know.
I'm not sure. I'll find out when I learn NMG.
Which mission was that?
Nice package.
Nice package.
Yeah, I don't remember offhand either.
What? What's poppin'?
That one, I play NMG, but
Isn't that what you
it's
guys
enough
say?
to be annoying, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Think that must be Lance.
What?
You got everything sorted?
Like usually on that one, that's one of the nice thing is the pay and spray on the northern pay and spray on the mainland is in a super convenient position. So you can, with low time loss, jump in there. So that's usually what I do because you're going past there on the way from downtown to the docks anyway. So at least it's not a huge amount of strain.
So there's not really too much special happening at this point. We're just going to do the same mission pretty much effectively 4 times in a row. And then we're going to do some more fancy skips. I suppose while we're waiting, we can help get to know some of our commentators as well as a streamer. So I will ask, what's your favorite VCS mission?
My favorite VCS mission. I was actually thinking about this. I have 2 that are tied for favorite. Taking the Fall and Farewell to Arms. Taking the Fall, we don't do either of those missions, by the way. Unfortunately. They're fun missions. They're long, but they're fun. A lot of people actually find Farewell to Arms difficult, which I certainly did when I first played this game. But once you get better at it, it's a very fun mission to play. Taking the Fall has you fly a helicopter with Lance on the side. He has an AK, and like the drive-by mechanic shooting once a frame, he shoots the AK once a frame. And you have to fly to Starfish Island, and fly around. Lance shoots some bikers, and then you go to the hotel, shoot some dudes.
I will say, if Wolf accidentally does this mission too many times, there's not necessarily a bad consequence other than he's going to lose some time. Because there are only 4 Umberto missions. If he does it more than 4 times, he's just going to continue passing Umberto missions that don't exist.
Think that must be
So,
Lance.
not the end of the world, but it's not good for time either.
Yep. I do have my splits open in my notes, which can't see, but I do apologize for any background noise that there may be. I have cats and people.
I'm on a very significant delay, so I'm not keeping track. You'll have to keep track of that yourself.
It's alright. My mic should have enough like noise gate for it to not matter, but I do have splits and notes open, so I don't have to count the oh, okay, so what is this? This is quite the mess. Alright, I'm gonna do one of the backups then, because I wasn't able to catch him because I crashed earlier and then traffic screwed him over, so I'll just pull him over here at this garage. I don't think this garage is actually used for anything, but I talked about taking the fall. It's fun. Farewell to Arms is an auto-scroller. Boring, but it uses the M249, which is a fun weapon to use.
I was gonna say, I didn't finish talking about the trunk glitch.
Oh yeah.
On Caught as an Act, as soon as the trunk opens, if you have gone on mission 0 at any point, if the trunk opens, you have a bunch of pedestrians running around trying to get the money that you have stashed in the trunk, and the game randomly will select somebody from the pedestrian pool to hop out of their vehicle if there's like a car loaded on the map. Incidentally enough, that can also happen to you on the Japanese and PS2 versions. It can randomly select you as the pedestrian to forcibly jump out of the vehicle, which can get very annoying if you're trying to do this trick really fast, because there is not a whole lot of leeway that you have in order to recover if you jump out of your car. If you start jumping out of your car, you're basically screwed.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Umberto missions we skipped. So we talked about nice package. The second one we skipped was balls. For most people, that tends to be the worst one.
What are you talking about?
Basically, you have some guys, and you drive around Little Havana taking out cholos. They have the drive-by mechanic, but they use MAC-10s, which is the worst of the SMGs. And then we also skipped Poppy Don't Screech. This is my least favorite Umberto mission. Basically, you have to pick up Umberto's, dad from the stadium here, and drive him back to his cafe in Little Havana, not far from where Umberto lives. But you can't go very fast, and you can't... There's some cholos waiting around to, like, attack you, because they don't like you. Once you complete Oblot, they become aggressive towards you. Hello. So it's very slow, and you'll fail pretty much if you encounter any cholo, so it becomes very scary. We just skipped the last Umberto mission, Havana Good Time. That one's probably the longest of them. It's not necessarily difficult, it's just very long. You go to a warehouse that's actually right behind us, back there. And you have to, it's like the Cholo's main base of operations, I think. It's a good mission in NMG because you can pick up a ton of Uzi ammo. But you have to basically kill a bunch of Cholos while some guys do some things, and then drive a slow van back to Umberto's. But we skip all of these, thankfully.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can tell that we're done with Umberto. I forgot about this. You can tell we're done with Umberto because Umberto is no longer on the map.
Yeah. So, we're gonna do Cause and Act on Mission 0 one more time. We're gonna do it normally later on. But we're gonna do this leap and bound skip. Leap and bound skip can crash very randomly. I've had it happen to me once. I think Phil Hito, who's the current world record holder, had it once. I don't know of anyone else that's had it.
I've had it happen several times.
Several times.
Yeah.
You have to skip fairly precisely. It's not as precise as some people. Oh heck, you can skip this cutscene much earlier because we aren't picking up the rampage again. So I just lost a few seconds there. You can skip it at like 20, because we aren't picking up a rampage anymore because we want to use that marker at the end of the mission for the other character. To skip leap and bound, because that marker is for leap and bound, and we'll finish this mission and start that mission at the same time. It will pass leap and bound, and then it will dupe the bum deal, I believe, which is the last Forbes mission. So I'm gonna skip this at a very precise time. Okay, it worked out. So now I'm going to death warp in a weird way here. I'm going to try at least. I want to get in the car like that. There we go. I want to be at least opening the door before the Molotov falls. So I throw it up against the car. I'm going to buy back my weapons here. I threw it up against the car so it took some extra time to fall so I could at least grab the door. Because that means I am considered in the vehicle and it would blow up with me technically in it. That would have duped the bum deal if I hadn't death warped. So death warp, but now we're actually just going to do the mission. You want to talk a little bit about the bum deal? How it used to be used? If you remember it at all.
It depends on how you're talking about that, because there are several ways it used to be
international version, PACBA.
You used to do the bum deal as the very last mission of the second act. And you would have to do it using the Molotov rampage because there was no other rampage that was convenient enough for you to be able to start the rampage and finish it and get to the very next mission in enough time.
I decide what weapon I wanted to use there. Because you can Molotov them, but that'll guarantee you 3 stars, I believe. Which I don't want. We'll see what it does, though. Copyright and music.
I think it will give you 2 stars, but you get 3 stars in the bar, which you still don't want, but yeah.
So I'm going to mute my game here because copyright. I'm going to use my last of my shotgun here to try and finish these guys off. I want to be careful. Lance has a lot of health here, but I still don't want to shoot him. We're gonna manual aim these guys here because they kind of hide a little bit. But so now we're gonna run back outside. We've only got 2 stars still. We're gonna turn the volume back up. That audio is part of the SFX or whatever it's called. Yeah, like the SFX audio in the game and not the radio audio. I had the radio muted. I know we can't jam out to some music. It's unfortunate. But so here's Forbes. He's actually like a minor antagonist. He'd be considered like what, the quinary one. We might as well talk a little bit about the other antagonists that we will never really kill. So I just picked up Forbes MP5 there. It's the best SMG. So now I have this, and I'm going to use it for like 1 mission. I'm going to grab a police bike here. Because we want to use it for the next mission. Lance. Oh gosh, I totally lost my train of thought. Wow. I completely forgot what I was saying.
That's fine, but yeah,
It's
we're
fine.
going to complete this mission, and then we're going to do a dupe that is exclusive to the Japanese and PS2 versions.
First, we're going to do COD as an act normally, though.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's
My
fine.
bad.
Yeah, we gotta finish off this very short mission, real quick.
We have to do this next mission with the rampage timer. It's a very short mission, but we have to finish it within the rampage timer. Otherwise, we lose a couple of minutes to be able to dupe the mission after it.
This actually has some of the most leeway that we'll get in the run, which is pretty cool. Because you'll get there with like 30 or 40 seconds remaining. If everything goes right. And since we're not like picking up a rampage, you don't have to pick up Forbes at that intersection way down the road. So we have this
So you
grenade.
saw that we had to chase Forbes down on the scooter. Back whenever International was using Bum Deal as the last mission for the partial act change bypass glitch, you would have to attack Forbes with the Molotov. So you'd have to get off at a particular intersection and throw a Molotov and ensure that it hits them. Otherwise, if you miss, you're screwed, and you would either have to fail the mission or redo the glitch, which is obviously not ideal.
So that's that mission. I bumped the trunk open, but luckily I didn't bail out or anything. I just muscle memory jumping there. So now we have 2 missions remaining in the act. Snitch Hitch and From Zero to Here. They're both Lance missions. From Zero to Here. These are normally the last 2 missions of the act. I don't know if Snitch Hitch has to be the last mission of the act per se, but From Zero to Here it is. In international version, you cannot dupe Snitch Hitch, which I think Scala mentioned. So you would have to do both and then do the Bum Deal setup. Or there was a setup using Havana Good Time, but that means you couldn't skip the mission. This dupe makes things a lot easier. But the problem is, at the end of it, we have to spam skip really fast because we want the final cutscene to not restart. If it restarts, I'll have to load a save. And I'll just load like the PACBA completed, because we would just do PACBA, call it a day. It's random whether it restarts or not, but the placebo is to spam skip it again and again. I'm going to go ahead and start this mission now. It's actually the one point where I'm going to use my notes because I don't remember how to dupe this mission. It's a cutscene dupe if you want to talk about cutscene dupes.
If you're going to do a cutscene dupe, you have to skip like right as soon as the rampage failed text appears. If you don't, then you wind up in a situation where the cutscene will replay, and if you have 2 cutscenes loaded at the same time, then you can end up with a potential soft lock, or it usually does soft lock. And if you soft lock, you're screwed.
Alright, I did the dupe successfully. I didn't fully remember how to do it, but it pulled it off, so it's fine. It's not as precise as you would think. This cutscene dupe is one of the less precise ones. There's some other cutscene dupes later in the run where it's you don't have to skip it 0.5 seconds after. You just have to skip cutscenes a certain way. That was the same with Truck Stop. You don't have to do it 0.5 seconds after it ends, blah, 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 blah. But doing that 0.5 second skip thing allows us to have 30,000 of ammo of whatever weapon we use for that rampage. So we just use a grenades rampage, and now we have 30k grenades. We're gonna use that like once. Not the most helpful thing. Would have been more helpful if we used, say, Molotovs or some other weapon, but we don't ever get that because the nades rampage is closest to cause and act. It's really the only rampage you can do it with, I believe. Normally in Snitch Hitch, this cheetah is optional. You're placing it, but you don't have to use it. In the duped version, mission fails. I don't know what the fail condition is. If you destroy it. So
I
the
think it's
cutscene
Lance
there,
died.
Lance died. Probably because they just don't know where to place him. So we went through a metal detector there, which took away our weapons. We're gonna pick them back up now. And now we're gonna hope for something. There's some enemies that we're gonna fight here in a second. Sometimes there's twice as many of them. Sometimes there's not. And I can pick up extra ammo, which I don't think I'll need to if they're not duped. If they are duped, they just for some reason don't drop their ammo. And I can't tell until I get a little closer. I think they are duped. Yep. Alright. Unfortunate, but I have enough ammo because I did the Uzi thing correctly with running out of Mac 10 ammo. So you don't have to kill every single one, I don't think. I think you just have to kill, like, most of them.
I seem to have
You have to
forgotten
kill
whether or
them
not you
all.
need to.
I'm pretty sure for duplets you have to kill them all, so it might just mean that you have to kill all of them of the particular instance.
Okay, here we go.
That's in charge.
Gives me some loud keyboard spamming, I apologize, but I really don't want this final cutscene to restart. Okay, we did it correctly. It didn't restart, so we can go ahead and do Pac-Bow. Alright, so we're gonna Death Warp, because A, we're in a bad place, and the game doesn't think we have... No! Doesn't think we have... pass from 0 to hero until we go on mission 1 on mission 0 again. I pressed the wrong button there, lost my weapons. That's not a big deal. Honestly, I don't think I actually need to use them. Because
You can just get some of the M249 at the film
right,
studio.
that's what I do anyway. I don't think that's a problem actually at all. So maybe it's not the worst thing. But we're using paramedic for this pack bus setup now. And since we have a little bit of extra time on the paramedic timer, we can park it in our garage to use it once we hopefully do Pac-Ba. This one, the save marker won't despawn if we're too close. We just don't want to do it too early.
That M249 at the film studio saves so many lives.
Oh yeah.
Basically, it's in the extreme heavy gun slot with like rocket launcher and minigun. But that thing can completely annihilate things. It's especially helpful for that one Martinez mission where you have to take out like everyone at the pool. Where they really can gang up on you if you can't get some good firepower out quickly.
Yeah, we skipped that mission. We skip almost every terrible mission in the run, in the game, I mean.
So we know that we did the Pac-Ba glitch successfully because if you take a look at the minimap whenever the pager goes away, there are 3 sets of mission strands available. It's R, M, and G for Rennie Gonzalez and the Mendez brothers.
Yep. We're gonna do 3 Rennie missions. They're all terrible. One of them's duped. We can't skip any of the Rennie missions right now. We skip one of the Rennie missions, but the other 2 we can't skip. So first we're gonna dupe the mission. Accidents will happen. Oh. What? Wait, is that... Could I just...
You got unlucky with the pager. The pager came in before the rampage could spawn, so you have to redo it.
No, I still am on mission 0. I still managed to get it with the pager.
Oh.
That's fine. I've never had that before. Why do I play the Japanese version? Okay. So, the Japanese version has several perks. One is the thing we just did. The Snitch Hitch dupe allows us to do a simpler setup for Pac-Ba. 2, we have 4 times the amount of health. 3, it's more stable in general. What am I missing? There's some other things.
I think stability, being able to do some more dupes, and the increased health are some of the quality of life improvements that you get as part of playing the Japanese version. I mean, shorter text for the pagers, of course.
Right, which doesn't allow us to park a vehicle in the garage for Act 1 to 2 Pac-Ba, but that's not a big deal. We're gonna get technically 30k katana ammo, which doesn't really make sense since it's just a melee weapon, but we're doing a cutscene dupe with it, so it's technically 30k katana, but it doesn't matter because it's a melee weapon. This is another cutscene dupe, but it's a very simple cutscene dupe. We just skip after 0.5 and then mash, and then it's done. I started and canceled.
It can be a little bit like a bunch of angry raccoons taped together. Sometimes weird things like that just happen.
I started and canceled Vigilante during the rampage. That kills the rampage spawns. Otherwise, I'd have like guys attacking me here right now, which would be not fun, but doesn't matter. This is Rennie. I'm trying to think.
It is the story of the age. Success
He voice actor is female. Hold on, let me time this. Uh-oh. I may not have done that properly. No, I did that properly. Oh. It's fine. It's duped. Maybe? Yeah, it's fine. I skipped it a little too early, but I think it's fine. Rennie's voice actor... Oh, I remember. Rennie's voice actor voices a character in another popular game franchise.
The radio host in LCS.
Radio host, yeah. It's Rennie as well in that. Oh gosh. Rosa Manuela in Just Cause 3. If we got any Just Cause fans in chat, I know PMC popped in here earlier. He's a Just Cause runner. Oh gosh, what's her name? Barbara Rosenblatt, I believe, is the voice actor. Appeared in a lot of TV shows and movies. Quite a big actor. But it's pretty cool that she is also voice acted character in Just Cause 3. Because I'm sure we've got some Just Cause fans here. Anyway, back to VCSing. Welcome to Accents Will Happen, and welcome to the second island. I'm gonna crash into this car because that gives us action. You want to talk a little bit about the second island and this mission? Any of you?
Mr. Pizza.
Yeah, sure. So this is so basically Rennie is a film director. And as a part of that has a couple wacky chase sequence missions where you do things like this, and the meter is how much action's going on, which you will fail the mission if you run out of action. And you will fail the mission if you run out of time, which you're getting from each individual thing. So it's from each individual checkpoint. So it's a kind of a weird little film sequence, but I don't know. I always thought it was kind of a fun, lighthearted little section of the mission or section of the run.
Okay.
This game has a lot of random little side missions like this, all of which are required for completion.
So, a side effect of Pac-Ba is, along with skipping, like we talked about, Louis' missions were skipped because they were in the previous act. Lance's missions were skipped. They were because he was in the previous act. That saves an hour, maybe, but there's a lot of Lance missions, and pretty much all of them are terrible. That one just stopped counting. They all are terrible, so we skip all of them. However, along with doing that, it seemingly randomly skips a few random missions. For example, the second Rennie mission, the Colonel's Coke, is just gone. I'm also going to skip this cutscene here at a certain point, because it's going to spawn on the road for us to drive back all the way to Rennie, up at the very northern point. Because we're at the very southern bit of the map, we got to go all the way north.
So there's a question in chat, sorry to interrupt, but basically about the Japanese version again.
I already did.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, we got that.
I know we covered it, but it was like an hour ago, so. figure it may not hurt to go through it again briefly.
We got it a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
bad.
Sorry.
No worries.
So, normally, duping accidents will happen in a non-PACBA environment, would have skipped the Colonel's Coke. However, because that mission just is seemingly gone, there's code reasons, if you know anything about that, Scalar.
It's because the mission, like the PACBA script, doesn't clean up every single mission in the mission strand, and that mission is residually left over. So that mission is just automatically completed. And then whenever you do the dupe, given that the Colonel's Coke is already marked as completed, it will skip over the next mission.
I think this may not have anything to do with it, but I think it happens to do with something of it being unlocked by a mission that's not part of the same strand. Like, Colonel's Coke is unlocked by, like, a Lance mission, I think, if I remember correctly. That goes for some other missions, like Feral to Arms is one of those random that are skipped. It's unlocked by Diaz mission, not a Gonzalez mission.
I'm not sure. I know Powdernet was looking into why that happened, and I don't remember what the exact scientific reason was.
Scientific. Yeah. So this is Say Cheese. This is a similar mission where we kind of just do like a little sequence of driving around the map. We use a jet ski and a PCJ. We end at pretty much the same point, and we have to drive all the way back here again.
It's kind of like a tutorial mission to show you the island.
Yeah. Say hello to the jet ski. This mission unlocks a very, very annoying side mission called Water Sports. It's one of the 4 like Time Trial Z missions. No one's ever gonna run Hundo at a marathon again, probably. Anti ran it last year at GTA Marathon, which, by the way, we do GTA Marathon yearly in April, May-ish. If you like these kind of runs, you should stop by it. It's gonna be like, what, 2 months from now-ish? 1 or 2. We've got a lot of variety of GTA runs, and we even have some GTA clones, so games like Just Cause, Watch Dogs, I think Sleeping Dogs has been featured there. We do GTA quote-unquote clones that have like similar mechanics to the GTA games there as well.
If you are inspired to play this game, and you want to do so legally, you're probably going to need to go buy the UMD or disc for the game and play it on PSP or PS2 or PS3. This game was unfortunately never released for the mobile platforms, and you can't purchase it from the PSN anymore, I don't think.
Nope.
And the reason we suspect that it is not available on any other platform, given that LCS is there, is probably because there is a famous actor in this game, Phil Collins. And Rockstar may not have the desire to pay for the rights to use his character again.
Right. You see that on the remaster, the definitive editions of the GTAs as well, and some of the more later editions of even like GTA 4, where they just flat out don't renew the music contracts. So it's always a huge point of contention, but it is a pretty rank and file routine thing that happens in the GTA universe.
Oh yeah. We actually never see Phil Collins because we skip every mission that he's in. He's only in like what, 2 missions though, right?
Technically, you do see him in Kill Phil Part 2, which is next.
Is he just in the cutscene?
He's just in the cutscene, yeah, at the very end.
Then what is it? In the Air Tonight or something?
In the Air Tonight and Kill Phil.
Yeah, you get to save him on the overhead.
So
it's a usual ongoing joke in VCS that they spent the majority of the writing budget on hiring Phil Collins.
they had a lot of money because this was the last game of the 3D universe. The next game was GTA 4, which is part of the HD universe. So they had a little bit of extra money from LCS, San Andreas, Vice City, even GTA 3. This came out in 2006, so even Advance, but I mean, Advance did not sell many copies.
See, until I talked to Wolf, I had no idea Advance even existed.
Advance is a game, one of the games of all time.
I'm not even sure I agree with that.
Commentators was your okay. Favorite VCS missions? I already talked about mine, which was taking the fall and farewell to arms. What about you guys?
Mine is the Got Protection dupe. I know that's not necessarily canon to the story, but I just think that mission is incredibly absurd.
It's your favorite. Okay.
Yes, it's my favorite mission out of the entire run.
Okay.
Let's see. I think I'm going to go with that one random helicopter mission for Lance, where you get to go take out the bikers and save them from the hotel.
That's taking the fall. Yeah, we had the same one. Any high
It's
wire
a
enjoyers?
Oh no. not
High wire's
wire.
half the run, so
No.
It's just you're driving for hours in a slow helicopter. It gets even slower once you pick something else up with it.
yeah. The thing is that helicopter is like the helicopter itself, which is what the Maverick is, not that slow, but because of the big magnet you have attached to it, it does actually slow it down, which was a nice touch, but a very annoying touch. Not a fun mission, but luckily it's one of those seemingly random skipped missions with PACPA, so we don't have to worry about it. So
The mission that we're doing right now is Kill Phil Part 2, and we're going to go to the stadium and act as security for the upcoming Phil Collins performance.
oh come on, get me up here, please. Please, thank
And we're
you.
going to go around and check a bunch of checkpoints around the stadium. We're going to find a bunch of assassins that are waiting for Phil Collins, and we need to make sure that Phil Collins is safe for his performance.
Yep. And I'm gonna use the M249 for this entire mission. I used to grab some extra ammo here until the strat on hostile takeover dupe, which is a dupe we'll do a little ways from now. That although it doesn't need to be cutscene duped, we cutscene dupe it to get 30k minigun ammo. Once that strat was discovered, this M249 is really only used for this mission, and you don't need any more ammo because the next missions you don't need any ammo for. So here's some dudes that we're just gonna auto aim them.
That this M249 kills a standard enemy in one shot. Of course, there's some enemies, like with the classic for San Andreas, the Big Smoke health it's called, where they have like, I don't know, triple, 4 times the health.
2x is
They'll
what.
take a bit
yeah.
more effort, but yeah.
Yeah, there's
most standard dudes will go in one shot with that gun.
Yeah, there's boss enemies and then there's boss enemies. The boss enemies, they have 2x the health. Aren't featured a ton in VCS, but they are featured in the final, like normally the final mission of the game, Last Stand, where you go and take out the remaining 2 villains, antagonists. We kill that last guy on purpose because the last dude you kill always spawns the keycard. But Last Stand, every enemy features a boss enemy, so everyone has 2x the health. And then the final 2 antagonists is like the boss fight. They have, maybe 5x?
I feel like Light My Pyre has the same effect in the basement.
It is, yeah. Armando Mendez.
Like basically you try and get him stun locked before he can catch you on fire too excessively.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can just sit there just going at him for a bit before anything happens.
So
That
I don't
mission
have.
is really hard. Like I would go ahead and say that I think that's probably, as far as no major glitches go, the hardest mission of the game.
It is very difficult. So I'm gonna die during this pager, so that sets on mission 0 for at least enough time to pick up our weapons. Because normally pagers set on mission 0, or on mission 1. I'm sorry. But dying during them allows us to do it. Completing that mission unlocks Diaz missions. Normally
We're not
there's
going to do any of them.
Yep, we'll get into that later. But there's normally 5 of them. One of them, the third one, Domo Arigato Demestobato, it's a Spanish mission name, is skipped. Again, the seemingly random thing. It's skipped, so we wouldn't do it regardless. In the old route, which I think was featured in the ESA run, you would just do them normally, all 4 of the remaining Diaz missions. But shortly after that, it was discovered. Oh, come on! It was discovered I get a better car here? Alright, I guess we're taking this. And of course, Sun Alexa spawns there, but that's okay because we're only driving a little bit.
Manch is notorious for despawning things.
Yeah, there's supposed to be 2 Sentinel access cars that spawn there, but sometimes on this mission they just don't spawn. But that's okay because I grab a PCJ here anyway for safety. Actually, I don't know if this is what most people do, but it's what I do. Makes this mission a lot easier. This is the mugshot long shot.
This mission, yeah, the premise of the mugshot long shot is you are supposed to. So you have Martinez starting to work with the feds at this point, and you need to take a photo of him. And what you do is you follow him around to find out where he goes in order to take that photo with him. So there's not really a whole lot that happens other than you just follow a car around for a very long time.
Yeah. It would be great if we could skip this mission, but it's the first in a chain, and the only other remaining way to skip it, caught as an axe style. It's frame perfect, so it's not really worth it.
Probably do it in a task, but not real time unless you're just insane.
We could skip pretty much every mission in this act in a task if we wanted to, using a very fun mission. We might as well start explaining it now. Homes on the range. Probably the shortest mission in the game. It's basically... It's the first Gonzalez mission. There was three Gonzalez missions. One of them skipped Farewell to Arms. But Homes on the Range takes place in the golf course. And it's basically just a super short golf minigame. Takes like 20 seconds if you do it first try, and it's easy to do it first try sometimes.
If you miss, then you lose like 3 minutes, so don't do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Josh strats on the mission, so hopefully it'll go a little better. You can use the mission to skip a lot of missions, but we use it only to skip the Diaz missions. Because they have that 0.5 second timing that, for example, Money for Nothing had when we did that in Act 2 with Caught as an Act. It has that same timing. Oh, I'm losing them. Please don't fail. I'd love you if you didn't fail. Thank you. We're gonna have 4 stars here in a few seconds. I'm gonna pain spray. You can do the mission without pain spraying, but don't. It's very difficult to do, especially since you're on a PCJ. We're going to yeet that PCJ because there's another PCJ here facing the direction we want. We're going to take a photo of... Hello? Don't know why that photo didn't count. But. So Martinez has spotted us, but he doesn't really know it's us. So he's like, hey, you... hey, like, get me out of here. This guy's taking photos. So now we're going to go over to Lance's new house. This is the first time we've actually seen it. It's fancy schmancy. I think it's actually the only time in the run we'll see it. And now we have to make a very treacherous drive. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. A very treacherous drive over the... Oh, Lord. Okay. It's my fault for going that way. Hello.
I swear you're pissing me off.
Hello, friends. Could you not? Okay, there's SWAT. Okay. There's a roadblock. Okay. We made it. It's a very short drive, but, you know, not the most fun drive. It's a very scary part, because the mission's already long enough. Failing it costs us probably a good 3 minutes there. So, this is the last normal mission we're going to do for a little bit, because we're going to do Homes on the Range on Mission 0. This is going to go wrong. I'm going to say it out now. This is going to go wrong. I find it very difficult to pull off. It's not the most difficult thing, but the 0.5 second timing isn't the hard part. It's doing the golf minigame, the super easy golf minigame consistently. there's something I call a jaw stretch, which is basically it seems to, it might be more placebo, but it seems to remove some of the input delay that it can have if you try and do it first try. Scalar, do you know anything about that? What I mean?
The Josh strats, or what do you mean?
Yeah, the jaw stretch, where we like fail the first try.
I didn't really pay attention to when he did that, so I might not know
Yeah.
enough to really talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember now. It's you intentionally fail a mission at the very start because there's a lot of long, prompts that you
Yeah.
can't really skip very easily. You have to mash the button several times in order to get the prompt to go away. And it can really mess you up because there's not really any specific... You can mash the button 3 times, you can mash it twice, and the prompt will go away. It doesn't really... It's hard to explain, but if you fail the first instance of like the attempt, then you don't get that prompt again, and you instantly get to start the swing on the golf club.
Yeah. And also, it seems like after the prompts, like that try after the prompts, seems to have some extra input delay. I'm not... It just feels that way to me, and feels like doing it when you have like the first try press. It feels a lot easier and smoother to do without the input delay.
No, I don't do the jaw strats. I just go straight for it.
That's what I used to do until like 2 days ago. So we'll see how it goes. We're gonna shove this this cop bike into the golf course. It barely fits. We have a lot of time. We just need to start the mission at 40 seconds remaining, so we have some time. The old strat was to take the plane, the skimmer. Yeah, which is docked in downtown, and use a rampage at the downtown police station. But once it was discovered, you could shove your bike through there. There's some rampages in here. There's 2 rampages. You can use either one. Not really a big time difference. You can use those instead. So this is also a boring part of the run, because it's just waiting for 2 minutes, because there's nothing we can do in between. So I'm gonna spam.
Hey, you got 2 kills.
How did I manage that? Sometimes rampage dudes will just randomly die, it seems. So we're failing this first one. Spam skip. Terrible. I have a deal coming up soon, Vic. So I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna try and do this. Uh-oh. Well, there's 2 minutes down the drain. Like I said, this was gonna go wrong. I'm terrible at it. So what I'm gonna do, the backup here, is I'm just going to pass this mission as an Umberto mission, because that won't affect anything. This is really the only backup you can do. I just need to be careful not to start Hotter again. Hotter is what I call it, because it shortens to HOTR, so I call it Hotter.
You want to make sure, yeah, because if you get into this cutscene, then you have to do all the Diaz missions, which you don't want to do.
Right.
Wolf and
So,
I have many acronym-based arguments.
oh yeah. Pizza doesn't like acronyms. I overuse acronyms. So this is the rampage we're going to use. It's the one here in this tennis court. There's another one under the bridge to my right. Right down there. Right down there. I don't know why I'm trying to point. You can't see. You can use that one as well. But there's really no time difference. And this one feels a little quicker to me for some reason. So now we get to wait for a minute, because I screwed up the first one. And we're going to be doing this until we skip every Diaz mission. There's really no indicator whether you've skipped the first 2 Diaz missions. Actually, for the first Diaz mission, there's no indicator whether you've skipped it or not, because the D just stays the same on the map. After the second one, there should be a pager that you receive. A certain pager from Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's in Japanese, which makes it hard to know which one you got.
Yeah, it's a Gonzalez pager that would unlock Feral Arms but doesn't. And then after the third Diaz skip, that would be a Martinez pager saying like, hey, let's finish this, which would unlock the final mission. Then after the fourth Diaz skip, you can start and cancel Vigilante, and if the D disappears off the map, it's done. So we're going to try this again. I'm going to try and time this properly. I'm not the greatest at it. So
I guess we can take the time that we have while we wait to learn more about the commentators and the runner. So another question we can give to the audience about us. Who is your favorite VCS character and why is it Mr. Lance Vance Dance?
I have a deal coming up very soon, Vic.
we'll ask that after I time this. Oh, that might work. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, I'm gonna time this again. 6 6 5 5 4 4 3 3 2 2 1 1 0 0. That looked good. So we don't want to start hotter again. Otherwise, I'd have to waste a few minutes failing the mission. Because the only way to fail is if you like screw up golf, what, 5 times? Something like that. That's the only way to fail because you can't like die or anything during it.
You didn't get a pager.
Right, well that was the first one, because I screwed
Yeah.
up the first attempt. There's no pager after the first one, because we just completed Seal the Deal, which I think is the longest of the DS missions. If I remember
Yeah, I'd probably
correctly.
say Steal the Deal is pretty long.
It's a very long auto-scroller, takes like 5 or 6 minutes. Basically, you have to drive all the way to the southeast of the map from Starfish Island, which is in the middle of the map. And then follow Guy halfway across the island, and then get on a jet ski and follow him some more all the way back to the south part of the map to some wooden places. Steal a boat from some guys that have a ton of M4s and AKs, and then drive back all the way to Diaz. Very long mission. My favorite VCS character. I like Armando Mendez, even though he's an antagonist. I like his boss fight. I like the antagonist in this game a lot, honestly. The minus Marty, he's kind of obsolete, but the Mendez brothers and Martinez, who are the 3 main antagonists, I like them a lot. I think their characters are very well written. Their ends, their demise is very action filled, in my opinion. What about you, Scalar?
My favorite character is Louise. I don't think she got enough like screen time on this game though. She's really important to the story, and I think there's a lot of character dynamic between her and Vic that I think adds to the story really well. And I would just, in my opinion, I feel like she should have gotten a few more missions than she did ultimately get in the game.
Yeah. And
Mr.
she
Pizza.
meets an unfortunate end, which we won't
I have a
see.
deal coming up very soon, Vic.
Okay.
I guess we lost Mr. Pizza for life.
No, I'm here. I would go with Barry, strangely, for favorite random character.
Well played, Vic. Thanks.
That's Phil's manager, and basically it's clear that all of the problems happening to Phil are entirely his fault. So it's just kind of fun when he's just constantly like causing mischief and just swearing, "I had nothing to do with it. I don't know why you got attacked immediately upon showing up." And it's just a fun comic relief that's a little ridiculous.
So you got a pager, and that's a Lance pager. But I don't know which one that is.
I frame perfectly skipped a Gonzalez mission. So the question is whether I should do Over the Top and Last Stand, or should I load a save and do restart DS skips? What do you think would be faster? Because I've never had this happen. It's frame perfect. What would be the best option? Probably just do the last 2 DS missions. Would be probably the best option.
Yep, your life is done.
Last 2 Diaz missions. I'm trying to think.
Over the Top and Last Stand. Over the Top is not long.
I'd probably just do the missions. If you reload, then you're gonna lose a lot of time.
Yeah, and, you know, I want to keep this run valid. This is going to still lose me a few minutes. I should probably gather some weapons. A few weapons.
Start paramedic.
Gonzalez is there.
Oh, okay.
He's
So
at
you
the
skipped
hotel.
homes on the range, so you can't do the DS
Yeah,
skips
I
anymore.
frame perfectly skipped it.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. That can also happen with Mendez and Rennie missions as well. Which is... It's very unfortunate. It's the last thing I expect to happen. I just expected to script the golf minigame a ton, but didn't expect to do that. But we'll just do the last two missions. Over the Top, I think, is the shortest of the Diaz missions, so still easily get like a really good time here. So I'll buy like a little bit of that. It's probably all I need.
Technically, you could dupe the exchange. I think the exchange is next, right? Because you
No,
only passed
oh yeah,
Steal a Deal.
you're right. I did. Duping the exchange would skip Over the Top, but how risky is it?
It's very risky. I would not do it in a run.
Well, then there's your answer. So we're gonna do the other Diaz missions then. So we're gonna do old strats. I don't know how to do them, so
I would talk you through, but I am on a significant, like, 10-second delay. Essentially, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to the Diaz mansion and drive a guy in a van to a parking lot in downtown, I think.
I remember the missions. I just don't know the strats for them because I never do them.
You're supposed to drive the truck in the grass on the left-hand side so that none of the antagonists or like the enemies spawn, the Mendez goons.
Yeah, that's obvious. I think it's Gonzalez's.
Gonzalez, I don't remember.
I'm not too worried about the exchange Over the Top because I know the strats for them. I'm just gonna have to pick up binoculars or something from Vice
The
Port.
exchange be annoying for the snipers though.
Well, there's a strat. I know from Hundo practice. I've never done a full Hundo run, but I've done Hundo practice. I know that there's a strat to do that. I'm not worried about the exchange or Over the Top. I'm worried about Last Stand. So at least we skip Steal the Deal. Go ahead and do it, shall we? Alright. Well, we're changing the course a little bit. This is the worst possible outcome.
No, I would say the worst possible outcome is you skip homes on the range and you don't do Steal the Deal skip.
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
Probably the second worst.
This is... Yeah, it's the second worst. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry for background noise again. If there's any audible background noise.
It's not terribly noticeable, so I think you're okay.
Okay. So the exchange I don't think will go, hopefully, horrendously wrong. I don't think Over the Top is going to go horrendously wrong. I know how to do those two missions. Last Stand, I just don't know if I have the ammo for. I am on Japanese version, which should make it a lot easier, but...
You can grab some of the AK ammo from the roof.
Yeah, that is true, and just make it M4 ammo. Since I bought 2 clips, or 2, like, M4s from Ammunition.
I think the enemies also do drop guns, so you can pick up their guns as well.
Yeah, and I do have some health because of Japanese version. This went from a really good run to a train wreck of a run. So I'm gonna try this strat, but it might go wrong because I'm not good at it. But I'll try it.
This is another instance where the Japanese version gives you more time or like more health. The counter or like the bar on the right hand side for this part goes down slower on the Japanese version than it does on the international ones.
It does? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get the last few with the sniper because they aren't locking on for some reason.
There's a way you're supposed to do the lock-on part. You have to run around in a specific way.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll just snipe them.
Yeah, at least casually, this mission can be really painful. Because they
Oh,
all
yeah.
kind of hop in and out of cover, and you don't have a lot of time to work with.
I do have 2 stars, which
Especially
is
if you do
annoying.
it as an intended on international. It's super easy for even an all-right GTA player to screw up. You don't know the right strats.
Right.
Okay. You need to not crash this truck. This truck has no health, and no additional health, rather.
Hello.
And you have guys just driving by and shooting at you with very, very rapid-fire guns.
Oh, I'm already, like, no health. Okay. Can you paint spray this truck?
You can.
Okay, I might do that then.
You can usually just go on the side of the road, though, on the grass, and that will prevent any of the enemies from spawning.
You think that's fine? What about at Starfish
That's-
Island? Do they spawn?
No, they don't. Just go on the very left-hand side and make sure you do not crash.
Otherwise, they'll catch on fire. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if there's anything to it, but at least for NMG, I found going up and around instead of down to the left, the way Wolf did, is slower, but seems to have less spawns. So, I don't know if there's anything to that or not.
You
This
took that
mission can be a pain.
really risky.
Did I?
Yeah, you went too far to the right, so some goons spawned on the road. There's supposed to be some goons that spawn on the
Are
entrance
you
to
kidding me?
the fish.
Okay. It might be just worth loading the save, I think, at this point. And I don't.
At least you can trip skip immediately to the shooting section for your consideration.
I'm just gonna load the save. I think. I think it's worth it, not struggling through. So
Are you gonna load the valid save, or are you gonna load
I don't
backup
have
save?
a valid save,
Okay.
so this is gonna invalidate the run, unfortunately, but it's worth it for marathon. I probably shouldn't expect to PB, but whatever, it's fine. We tried.
Yeah,
Wait.
this category can be really rough.
Wait a minute.
And has a lot of different pitfalls that
This
are
isn't
hard
the
to
right save.
control.
Hold up. Do I not have a save for it?
Just pick your closest save, I guess.
Thing is, I don't have one. My latest is Act 2 Pacba. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna act like we didn't do any Gonzalez mission. Wait, this is a big problem. So the problem is I don't have a save until So Long Shalong Dupe.
Then your best bet is to probably just go back to Accidents Will Happen, which is the most recent valid save.
Yeah, but I just loaded an invalid save.
Well, that's your only option then.
Or just skip a ton of missions and call it. But this is like the worst thing that could happen. Okay, so if you missed all of that, here we go again.
You have a 3-hour estimate, 3+ hour estimate. I think you should be fine to just load Accidents Will Happen.
Alright, well, this was going well. Wouldn't be GTA without throwing something terribly wrong? Yeah, but this is one of the worst things that could happen. Oh my.
So my recommendation, of course, would be to make a save before you do Homes on the Range. That way you
Good
can
idea.
end up in a situation where you have no save again.
I decided not to do any safety saves because I had
We're
safety
honest,
saves. I must have gotten the wrong save for Homes on the Range on Mission 0.
Or honestly, since you're on an emulator, you might just want to just make a save state.
I do have a save state. You are correct. I have a save state for Homes on the Range. Run saved. All right.
Leave it to the guy who doesn't run any to know that.
This is my practice save state. Run saved.
So basically, I'm sure most people have played on an emulator, but the nice thing is, since this is an emulator, you can save the exact state of the game at key moments. So basically, we can just go straight to here, rather than just where the game will let us make a save. Totally invalid for a run, but in
Oh,
this
yeah.
case, is a great backup method.
I expected this to happen, so...
It's a great practice method, too.
Yep, this is what I practice with, so...
Especially because when you're doing a complicated any percent type of run, there's times when even if you're off mission,
0-0. That looked good. My goodness, this is... Okay, run saved. We're not doing a bunch of things over again. Run's invalid now. Not a big deal. I got frame perfect memed. It's unfortunate, but at least we can not skip any missions, right? That we would have normally not skipped. Because my next option, other than going back a ton of missions, would be to load my So Long Shlong save. Which is the last mission of the run. Right. Because there's nothing scary past Homes on the Range until then. I don't have a save for Hostile Takeover Dude, because that's just, well, whatever. But, alright. Hopefully LCS won't go this terrible tomorrow. Let's stay hydrated.
What are you running for that? Is it any percent or
Yeah,
what
any
category?
percent AJS.
AJS, okay.
boy, that's a category.
AJS. AJS is easy in LCS, so. And you can save right before it. And it's got more content than just doing random things for 8 minutes. You have to play through the game a little bit before you get to the glitch stuff, so.
While we wait for more 2-minute timers, let's ask some more questions for the commentators and runner. So what inspired you to first start speedrunning this game?
VCS is my favorite GTA game. And also Josh Moose's ESA 2021 run.
I have no personal attachments to VCS. I had it as when I was younger, of course, but I lost the UMD that the game came on, and I had the UMD for LCS as well, so I played that one a lot more than VCS. It wasn't until several years later I found the UMD and eventually played VCS, but since I don't have any attachments to it, I found it as the best choice for me to speedrun if I wanted to speedrun a GTA game. If you speedrun a game, you're going to get very sick of that game.
1-1-0-0. Looked good. If I frame perfectly skipped another Gonzalez mission, or Rennie or Mendez. Okay, that's the pager I wanted. That's a Gonzalez pager. The Lance pager, I don't know why, but it's for Homes on the Range. Like when you complete Homes on the Range.
Yeah, stream just caught up for me. It's a Gonzalez pager.
Yep. I remember that. I remember these two pagers specifically. Because they're important. Well, actually the third one also, just in case I screw it up at any point. I know what it is. I mean, you'll be able to tell once the pager's over anyway, but so you got a taste of the exchange. Let's talk about Over the Top.
Over the Top is a mission where you return to the army base. Since you are no longer in the army, you can't get in there normally. If you try and get in there normally, then you have the soldiers just shoot at you. So your only option to get back into the army base is through jumping over at the top of the wall using a little bitty, like, I don't know what you call it, a power shed.
The thing we rammed into at the beginning of the run to fly over the army base. Here's a mega jump, by the way. Mega jumps are something that are no longer in this run, but are fun to do.
Oh, stream just finally caught up for me. The remainder of the Over the Top mission is once you get into the army base, your ultimate goal is to steal the helicopter. I don't remember what the helicopter is called. The Hunter? Okay, yeah. Your goal is to sneak into the army base and steal the hunter for Diaz. And I think you're going to go for the mega jump skip, right?
Well, I'm not doing homes on the range.
Oh yeah, that's
so-
right. You're not going to do it.
Or I'm not doing it over the top. But yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay, yeah.
You can skip running to across the base to like unlock where the hunter is by just mega jumping into there from the top.
I have a deal coming up very soon, Vic.
Over the top. Even. Oh.
You know,
Oops.
I will nominate that as the most disappointing mission in this game.
It's the penultimate
supposed to be like-
mission. I just screwed up.
Yes.
Let's wait another 2 minutes to skip this. Whoops.
Your authorities are keen to support my colonel's
I'm
attempt
still
to
like
declare a democracy
I'm
in
new to the
Vancouver.
strat because I do what you do, Scalar, normally. So I'm still trying to like counteract for the input delay. That is definitely there, I swear. So I'm just gonna pass another Umberto mission. I practiced this mission so much. I spent a good 2 hours practicing this mission one night, and I still can't do it.
The current world record for this speed run, the any percent of VCS, is under 2 hours. My PB is, I think, 2 hours and 2 minutes. The only reason why I don't have a PB under 2 hours is because I accidentally messed up homes on the range, and
Oh.
I've been too lazy to redo it because it's 2 hours into the run, basically.
What'd you screw up specifically?
I think I ran into the marker on the right-hand side before I was done with the homes on the range skip.
So you had to do DS missions, or?
I had to fail the mission intentionally so I could
Oh,
continue
yeah, you
doing
can do
homes
that
on the
too.
range.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And the only way you can fail the mission is if you lose the match by intentionally failing, I think, what is it, 5 rounds?
Yeah.
5 or 6 rounds.
I think
It
I
takes
brought
a
that up
very
already.
long time to fail it. It's a short mission, but if you want to fail it, it's very, very long.
Boom. I love mega jumps. There's mega jumps in GTA 3 versus Vice City are very weird. Maybe next year we'll see some GTA 3. Well, actually, no. You'll see the definitive edition of GTA 3 in a few days. I recommend checking that out. However, it will not include mega jumps because that is an OG version only thing.
That's going to be you also?
No, I don't run definitive edition. Chirp64,
Oh.
who is in chat, will be running it.
Okay. I didn't know if that meant you were also going to do that.
Nope, I'm just doing VCS and LCS this time
Awesome.
around. LCS is going to be a ball of laughs because it's only about a half hour long. So, we'll see how it goes, but for now, we're doing this game. But what happened basically, Chirp, is
I have a deal coming up
I
very
I
soon, Vic.
frame perfectly screwed up. So we had to go through some nonsense. Oop, that might work. Yeah, it worked. Okay.
As long as you see more than one frame of the rampage failed text, you know you did it correctly.
Well played, Vic.
Well, not always, because it could frame
Regard
perfectly
this
skip
as a
another
down
mission.
payment on your services.
1100. Okay, that worked. I'll just double check by starting canceling. Wait, no. I still have one more to go because I just didn't undo my splits. So I should get a pager. There it is. And that's the Martinez pager. So we've done the first 3 correctly from this save. Unfortunate, but things happen during marathon runs. Act 1 and 2 surprisingly went well. I didn't expect Act 3 to go all this
Yeah.
wrong.
They were actually pretty good.
Yeah, I golded a few missions. Can't wait to see the comparison. I'll actually look at the comparison now, scroll back through my splits, see how far ahead I was. Because normally, I think I've safety saved a lot in my PB. Let's see.
Guess
Oh,
another
yeah.
question while we wait. If you could work at any business in the VCS universe, if you could work at any business in Vice City, which business would you work at?
Whatever that donut place is, Rusty Brown's. Or King Nuts, one or the other. I was 7 minutes ahead of my PB until Homes on the Range. Like, Mugshot Longshot was minus 708, and then Seal the Deal is plus 920. Oof. I'm still saving time now, but it's still possible to PB, but, you know, it's an invalid run. But that happens during marathons. I think every time VCS has been featured in a marathon, it's also gone wrong.
I would work at the V-Rock station.
I think, let's see, I think VCS has been ran 3 times? Any percent at least has been run 3 times at a marathon. Once in ESA, 2018? Before Pac-Bow was discovered, it was Josh. And then, actually, all 3 times it's been Josh. And then the big ESA 2021 one, or ESA Winter, I guess it would be. And then
I think he did it at GTA Marathon.
GTA Marathon 2021. Okay, looks good. There's still slight input delay, but that's gonna be normal for old video games. 5 5 4 4 3 3 2 2 1 1 0 0. Looked good. Alright, so now we're going to check whether we've completed it by starting and canceling Vigilante. That's why I did that earlier. And Diaz is gone, so now we can do Homes on the Range for real. I guess we never explained why Vigilante is needed for On Mission 0. If you want to go ahead and do that.
You cannot use Taxi or Paramedic to get on Mission 0 because there's an oversight with Vigilante where it sets on Mission 0 twice during the fade out.
Yep. So you pick up the Rampage after it goes on Mission 0 once and then goes on Mission 0 again.
You can use Crash, which is a mission where you drive a bus and intentionally crash into cars for money, but that's obviously really slow. The most convenient method is to take a police vehicle, such as the police bike, and go to a rampage.
You can use Crash.
Yeah, you can.
Did not know that.
Are we using emulator? Yes.
There's so many random side missions in LCS and VCS.
There's far more in LCS. But VCS also has Empire missions, so it makes sense. I'm not sure why I'm doing this.
This guy's been trying to beat me down into doing a VCS hundo at some point. And I've as of yet managed to keep up my resistance.
You've done 3 in VC and you've tried SA. Why not complete the 3D universe? Right?
For one, there's no way I'm doing it in one setting.
Well, no. At least do them casually. Actually, no, you've done LCS, so why not complete it? Yes, it is. This is PPSSPP. Now, time for one of my least favorite missions in the game. Purple Haze. Right before one of my favorite missions in the game.
I argue Purple Haze is kind of fun and kind of ridiculous.
I hate it.
But annoying.
Because on Japanese, I mean, I do avoid the biggest terrible part about it, which is 3 stars on Japanese version. There is a strat to avoid it, which I do.
You gonna shower with that?
Oh, jeez. Inside jokes on a marathon, man. Come on.
Hey, it's an actual line in San Andreas, man.
Well,
I'm making a reference to a different GTA game.
Well, there's also the person. So. Anyway. This mission, or this split at least, is a good 6 minutes long for me. The mission itself is like 4 to 5. So, and it's unskippable because you can't dupe Homes on the Range. Because you obviously can't like walk back into the marker. And there's no known Purple Haze like Instapass. Because, VCS Instapassing is very rare. Because unlike other games, like 3VC, LCS, SA has the same issue. But SA is a bigger game and has more missions.
Actually, there was a discovery I made where you can skip this mission.
Oh yeah, there's the hostile takeover version of it, but it's really slow and not easy.
Yes, it's very terrible. I don't recommend doing it. So it's usually just recommended to do this mission
All right, I
normally.
might mega jump here, but there's a I mega jumped. There's a strat there where you can jump forward and skip like a getting up animation, but if you're not careful, you'll mega jump backwards. So, unfortunate. So this mission, the entirety of it from this point on, is in slow motion, which is very annoying. We have a Sanchez provided here by us. If we use control setup 1 and hold the left button, which is like left bumper on PSP, I'm not. It's like, what is it on Xbox? Like L.
Trigger.
It's not. I have it. LB, I think is what it's called on Xbox. Because I have it on the actual bumpers. I don't use the triggers. So this is another point in the game where I'm going to mute. This is the one point where I've actually had issues with copyright. The other two places I muted that have copyrighted music haven't given me problems. But, you know, we always want to be safe. So this cutscene will trigger. There's some music you can hear. Blah, 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 blah. And we're going to mute the game. And here's the strat. It's basically these two guys here sitting on the wall. We can run them over, and that will prevent us from getting, if we're careful enough. Oh, I'm having the bug. Hello, friend. And then there we go. Now we're gonna drive back.
Excellent. If you end up with 3 stars, it's very difficult to complete this mission. You end up with a lot of police chasing after you. If you end up with 4 stars, then the SWAT team will come after you. And that gets really annoying. Are you going to take the chicken way by going through the alleyways?
My mic wire fell out. No, I will not be taking the alleyway. Mainly because I just don't know how to do it. So I'm gonna take the way that I know how to do it. I switched back to control setup 2 here. It seems to help with police spawns a little bit. This cop here makes me nervous though, because there's a bridge here coming up that has no barriers. Whoever designed it should get fired, but cops can push you off that bridge there. Yes, I am blind. I'm gonna continue looking behind till the end. Your ears.
People are saying rip ears. What happened?
I'm not entirely sure what's going on.
Oh, probably when you reconnected your mic. I know if I've done that, it can make a horrible screech.
Yeah, that was probably it. Doo-doo.
Sorry about that.
Windows noise.
We apologize on behalf of everyone.
So here what I want to do is I either want to find a cop bike or I'm going to head over to the police station and get a cop car. Beep really loud. Not entirely sure what that was. I apologize. I didn't hear anything. Did you guys hear anything?
No, I didn't.
No, but I don't think either of us have stream audio up, so.
I don't.
Sure.
The problem is, at least from this end of things, is you get a terrible echo of talking if you do it. So most of us just accept and not listen to the game.
Yep. So we're gonna do this dupe here. This used to be a simple dupe, like cleaning house and got protection style. But we found a strat. I say we. I was not involved in this finding at all. I believe Alola Girly was the one who found it.
If you're doing what I think you're doing, I don't know who discovered it.
The cutscene dupe to
think
get
we
the
kind of just
30K
did it.
again.
Someone figured it out. I don't know who did though.
I know a little girly discovered like the insta dupe thing where it instantly dupes after skipping the cutscene, which is done. I'm not sure. I haven't been around long enough in the VCS world. VC was my main game for a while, so, but now controller for life. It is nice to play on emulator, since I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the run. You can use whatever controller you want that at least, you know, will connect to a computer. Or if you're insane enough, you could use keyboard and mouse, but that's not really optimal. Because
Speaking of not being able to hear the game, I think we were talking about this earlier, but there is no radio in the game for copyright reasons since we disable it. But if you have the opportunity to listen to the radio for this game, I do encourage it because this game does have really good radio.
best radio in the series, hands down.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's alright. I don't remember what I was saying. This is how bad my memory is.
Oh, on the controller schemes.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
Just
I
for
use... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I use a Xbox Series X controller. Obviously not intended to be used with PlayStation games at all, but it works. So we have a minigun rampage here. This is specifically so that when we cutscene dupe this mission, we get 30k minigun ammo for this mission. And that's about it. But the next two missions have some gunplay in them, but not a lot. And I'll probably just use like my SMG or something like that. So we're going to start this mission with about 10 seconds remaining, and I'm going to skip when the rampage timer is at 0 seconds. And we're not going to do this like the right after ends or anything. We're just going to skip it at 0 seconds so that it ends in the fade. So this is like the one time you'll see Armando Mendez, if he even shows up. Which he may not, and you may just see Vic. So there's the instant dupe. Not sure how that works. There we go, and we have 30k minigun ammo. And the Sentinel XS actually spawned, which is very nice. So now we're gonna do this mission. It's a very short mission. This mission skips, unfriendly competition.
We used to do unfriendly competition dupe, but thanks to me not remembering what to do, I accidentally duped this mission instead of unfriendly competition, and we found out that unfriendly competition, you can skip it by just duping this mission instead, and you don't need to do, what is it? Burning bridges.
Or, yeah, which is a very short mission, anyway.
Yeah, so instead of doing hostile takeover dupe, instead of doing unfriendly competition dupe, we do hostile takeover dupe, and then we do burning bridges later, since it is a short mission.
Right. So I'm just doing this mission with the minigun, because we got it, and it's an instant kill for pretty much everyone. I'm gonna try and do a thing at the end of the mission where I kill everyone before they, like, flee, but I've never done it successfully, so we'll see.
It's very hard to do that. Even though this mission is duped, there is a counter checking to see how many guys that you've killed. You don't need, normally you have to kill 15 guys in order to progress the mission to the next part. Even though it's duped, the game is still only checking for 15 instead of 30, which is nice.
I missed one. It's unfortunate.
Missing one is kind of the premise of being able to do hostile takeover purple takeover using hostile takeover. Did I say that right? No, I didn't say that right. Purple haze skip using hostile takeover. I think Mr. Wolf's microphone fell out again.
The rear guard advances.
Anyways,
At least you're able to see them.
I was going to say the next mission is burning bridges, which takes away all your weapons, but you do have the opportunity to get them back.
Only in Japanese version. There's only a few that you can grab back in international.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use my SMG for this mission. I'm gonna do a strat that avoids the spawn of many guys. That it doesn't seem like a lot of people know about. For some
Again,
reason.
another thing I found, but it's not really...
You found this?
I don't see a whole lot of people use it.
I mean, it makes this mission ever so slightly easier.
Yeah, it does.
There's a dude here. I'm just gonna kill because he's gonna screw up my auto aim if I don't. And then we can just run past this guy. They have snipers, but they're not very good with them. Never mind, he got me there.
They'll hurt, but on the Japanese version, it doesn't hurt as bad. On international, it takes away pretty much almost all your health.
So I'm gonna pick up Lance here. There is a way that you can just drive right past them, but I'm not always successful with that. Now we're gonna do my other least favorite part of the run. Oh gosh, if he wasn't angry driver, that would have been very, very nice. But we can just go to the police station, grab a cop bike, and do our final mission of the run. If it doesn't go wrong, hint, it will go wrong.
There are lots of reasons the so long shlong dupe can go wrong.
Oh yeah.
You can fail a dupe, you can accidentally soft lock yourself in the cutscene. Is that police bike there from earlier in the game?
Well, police bike.
There's a police bike by the wall where you go out of bounds.
Was there?
Something like that.
Clip.
It's like up ahead.
Nope. Up ahead. I wanna.
It seems to have just despawned. Anyways,
Are
continue.
you seeing things?
There was a police bike. I'm pretty sure I saw it.
This mission's also semi-long, but so we're gonna finish very, very ahead of estimate. So there are some fun things we can do after the run, just for memes, because we'll be a good 30 to 45 minutes ahead. So might as well have some fun, right? Doing the starting canceling vigilante to get rid of rampage spawns again. If I were to do this mission first try, which I probably won't, this would be PB, but you know, I'm
There
not
are
taking
safety
this.
strats you can do.
Yeah. I tried the PCJ strat because I was told that it's no less risky than taking like the Phoenix or the Sentinel XS. That's
I
wrong.
wouldn't recommend it.
I remember who told me that. Sorry, sir, but I managed to complete it once out of like the 5 times I did it, compared to the Phoenix, where it's fairly consistent. You still need time for setup, yeah. Alright, there's several things we can do. Could even do some side missions. Alright. So, the last mission's a Rennie mission. So long schlong. This dupe skips in the air tonight, thankfully. It's not a difficult mission per se, but it would be a mess. I'd have to
And
mute
keep
the
in
entire
mind,
mission.
this is not the last mission in the canon game, right?
Right. We never talked about Last Stand, did we? Last Stand is normally the final mission, but it's a Diaz mission, so we skipped it. It's every enemy has 2 times the amount of health. You have to kill a bunch of enemies, shoot down a helicopter, and then go to the roof and kill Martinez and the other Mendez. Because Armando is killed in a Lance mission, which we skipped. Don't worry about that. This has one of my favorite lines that you just heard. 3, 2, skip. There's another cutscene dupe, but it's not a 0.5 second style dupe. Farewell, faithful friend. The phoenix must burn first before she rises. Oh, I didn't skip there properly. I don't know if it matters if I was a little late there, but hopefully it doesn't.
As long as you see the Rennie health bar appear when the pager does, you've duped the mission.
Okay. As long as I did it correct. I'll see.
There is a situation where you can Like, you get to the place where you're supposed to save Rennie, and then you have this cutscene replay again. If that happens, you've done it wrong, and you're boned.
Yeah, there's no way to recover from that. I don't know. I never practiced this mission. I practiced it once before the run because it was giving me issues in practice.
This shit is over.
But
The
you never
ultimate goal
do
of
this
what you need
mission.
to do here is kill 24 guys.
Yeah,
Once
I'm
you've
not
killed
counting.
24, the Rennie page is supposed to appear.
I'm not counting. Oh, never mind. Well, there we go. That didn't feel like 24.
You would count and be close to a vehicle that's in the vicinity
Yeah.
to optimize your ability to get to the apartment complex, I guess is what it is. A lot
Yeah.
faster, but it's a small optimization. It's not
I'm
gonna be
gonna-
like make or break the run.
I'm gonna grab the PCJ here just for the drive to the Phoenix. Actually, I can use the Deluxo, can't I? I'm just
You
gonna
can
go
use the
with what I know.
Deluxo.
I'm just gonna go with what I know. This is the final mission. I'm not taking any risks. But yeah, there's several things we can do after the run to meme around. Tuan is requesting that we mess around. So at least this makes it a little easier to at least pick up running. So there's 2 times the amount of guys that chase us, which is not fun. Because they can pop our tires, they can destroy our car, they can kill Rennie, etc., etc.
If you're
So-
taking requests, I suggest air ambulance. It's a fun, fan favorite mission.
Oh yeah, best mission in the game, hands down.
So good.
Oh yes. Okay. So this should make it easier to swap to the... I don't know how to do this mission super optimally, but there's a Phoenix over here that we can use. That's a little safer because we can't like fall out. Rennie can still get shot, but basically the premise of this mission is that we're supposed to take Rennie to the hospital because she's getting a transgender surgery. I'm gonna hit this ramp here. Partially for fun, partially because it skips one of the dudes. Allows us to avoid one of them. And then here's another one. He can knock us into the water there, but thankfully it didn't happen.
A very interesting way here.
It's the one Josh took. I learned most of the run from Josh's ESA run, minus homes on the range. It's good. Okay, yeah, this is a fake PB here. But yeah. So time's coming up if someone wants to get ready. The time stops when the credits play. Here we go, here we go, here we go. When the fade ends. And time. 2:30:30 is what I have on my timer. And then normally as part of the run we would show stats and show some emulator settings. Just very quickly here.
It's cute that it plays the credits, because that makes no sense in the game. Like, I don't know. Sure, fine. I guess you beat the game.
So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna actually death warp here, and we're gonna do our first little meme thing. Hello, Vic. I think this is an emulator meme. There we go. If you go into your the pause menu there, sometimes you just aren't able to use the circle button. So I'm gonna death warp here, and I'm gonna try the first strat, which I'm not entirely sure if it works on Japanese or not. Do you know what I'm planning to do, Scalar?
I can't say I do.
With the cop bike? No? Alright. I'm not sure if it works on
Oh, I know what you're
Japanese.
doing.
What am I doing?
You're gonna transform it into the 4-dimensional space, right?
Yeah, you could call it that. So, after completing In the Air tonight, or, do what we did and skip it, there is a thing unlocked at the stadium where we can watch Phil Collins' concert. I'm obviously not going to watch it because copyright, but doing the thing can had some weird side effects to the cop bike. Why is this car still here? Just, alright. So, rampages percent, anyone? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive it up here. I don't want to park it too close to the padlock, otherwise it could despawn. But I'm going to run into it by the concert. Skip immediately for copyright reasons. It didn't work.
Ah, the thrill of beating someone senseless.
Let's try again. It's like a 75% chance or something like that. Oop. It fell over. It's not squashed though. We'll try one more time. And if it doesn't work that time, then it probably just doesn't work on Japanese.
I think it does work on Japanese.
Nope. It turned it around. Oh. Okay. That's as close as we're gonna get. What else should we do?
You can demonstrate the hitbox of the police bike.
Oh yeah, I could do that. Okay.
Just drive it to any pole.
Yeah. I could also... That didn't do anything.
I'm way too rich to wait.
There's a fence. A specific fence that can have some weird side effects, I know. There's also the ramming into the wall, sending you out of bounds.
That is technically how we discovered the waking up the neighbor skip.
Wasn't in the exact spot, but it was like that area or something like that.
Josh was driving the police bike and he crashed into a wall over by the first convenience store that you defend in Shakedown.
I think it was like not exactly that out of bounds spot that we use, but rather like on the other side of it or something, if I remember correctly. Should we do Chinatown Wars any percent?
If you can do it in like, what, 10 minutes? Sure.
Chinatown Wars any percent is like 2 minutes, so yeah.
Unscheduled run.
Unscheduled run. If that's okay with everyone, I'll do Chinatown Wars any percent for the meme. It's like 2 minutes long. 2 to 3. Well, I think like a safe estimate would be like 5 or something like that. If staff is okay with that, I'll go ahead and do that. If I don't, no, I have it installed. I have it. Okay, it's just not wanting to go out of bounds. So, let me see if I can demonstrate the fence thing. This cop bike has some really weird collision. So if I like do a thing against this.
The overall thing that he was trying to do with the police bike is if you go out of bounds and you have the police bike loaded, it will squish the police bike in multiple axes. It can squish the bike vertically, horizontally, and on the Z-axis as well.
Right,
so you
well,
can have a very weird, stretched out bike.
Well, let's just go out of bounds here and see if that works. See if it does it. And then we'll do Chinatown Wars. So Tuan says we're like 50 minutes ahead, so we'll do some Chinatown Wars. Didn't do it. Go out of bounds again. There we go. Didn't squish it. Come on, bro. Okay, try one more time. Oh. Okay, so maybe that helps with going out of bounds, like flicking my camera there. Oh, there it is.
I'm waiting for the stream to catch up.
There it is. It's paper thin. Oh, lovely.
It's always fun when you're racing someone too, and like you can hear them scream and look up in time to see what happens.
Oh yeah. This is This is what I was trying to do with the concert thing, but I didn't know just any out of bounds can do it. So let's try. Can we get back on the bike, or will that like break everything? It won't even let me get
I don't
over.
think you
to
can
it.
get back on the bike.
Oh, nope, I got it. Whoa. Alright, let's do some Chinatown Wars any percent, just for the memes. Let's talk about Chinatown Wars.
You will have to take the lead on that. I have never played Chinatown Wars.
Pizza.
At least no, I've at least done it casually.
Oh yeah. So Chinatown Wars any percent, most optimized any percent in the series. So I'm just gonna go
By
ahead.
optimized, he means extremely broken.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna start a new game, and I'm gonna spam start until I hear that little bloop. What?
So, little
It didn't do
background on
the thing.
Chinatown Wars before he
Right.
does it.
It didn't do the thing. Didn't work. Come on, bruh.
Chinatown Wars is a top-down view game set in Liberty City from GTA 4. It was released for PSP and especially touch-based devices.
DS
So
mobile.
it's got some weird controls, and it's a goofy little storyline. It's a fun little game, but I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of it personally. But anyway, what Wolf is doing is a very extreme any percent, where by doing some save manipulation, it basically goes to the last mission in the game.
So here we are. We have the final mission unlocked. I want to find a good car. This works. How do I meet the game? There we go. I don't remember the route for this game. We're winging it. Alright, folks. So basically, hello. This little H on the map, the little like H with the shield around it, that's the final mission of the game. But it doesn't even start us at the final mission. It let's see, it starts us like halfway through it. So here we go, folks. Chinatown Wars HD 1. This is technically HD universe game, but like it's part of the HD storyline, but just like GTA Advance, it's not really a HD game or 3D game. So here we are, final mission, Salt in the Wound. Skip this cutscene, blah blah blah, and we have to get to the next jetty.
Just for some context too, the any percent no save glitch version of this run, it has a world record of 3 hours. So basically takes 2 hours and 58 minutes or something else out.
Oh yeah, so this is a very easy auto scroller. This is minigun, so it's very easy. We'll be doing LCS tomorrow, folks, which is a similar glitch, except it's a lot more technical. I'm gonna try and explain it all on my own, because yeah, but we'll see. This has been a fun run, y'all, with VCS. Thanks for having me. Thanks to my commentators for joining me and taking a lot of the burden of
Well, I know you say you don't know the route of the run very well, but do you need any specific weapons to finish the end game? I think we may have lost Wolf.
Nope, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh heck. This is a comet, by the way, but you can't really tell. So, this is the hardest part of the run, because you have 4 stars here. And we'll hang a left. I think this has been ran out of Marathon. I think it was actually ran at ESA 2021. Josh Moose did it. for the
I
memes after VCS.
I think it was a donation incentive.
Oh, was it? Oh, pff. Oops. Pressed the wrong button. If I were to restart, start from the beginning, but yeah, I'm not gonna bother. I would have just killed that dude. I don't remember the controls, so I would have just killed that guy. That's like the quote-unquote final boss fight. He can kill you in one hit, unfortunately. He has like no health, so you can just punch him like 3 times and it's done. But yeah,
Right. The hard part is actually like going through the water treatment plant and all that. That happens a little bit before then.
oh yeah,
So it really takes everything out of it.
yeah. It's one of the easiest runs. You can do it yourself. All I did at the beginning was spam the start button after I pressed new game until like that menu came up, and I saved and loaded that save, and that put me in the glitch state. It's basically like Pac-Bow, which we've been doing for VCS, except the entire game is one act, and we do it before the run even starts, because time doesn't even start till after you get control. So, I guess I'll leave it there. I'm sorry, people. If there's anything else that we should do, anything else anyone can think of, otherwise,
House percent in Chinatown Wars.
win the house. No.
It's the silliest category ever, but I love it.
Oh yeah.
Basically, there's an in-game lottery, and the entire thing of the very, very, very memey category is just keep doing scratchers until you win the house, because there's one specific lottery where you do 3 and you get 3 houses and you won yourself a house. A very realistic lottery.
Right. All right.
But it's extremely a meme.
I guess that's the end of this. This was quite the run. Act 1 and 2 went really well. Act 3 was a mess. We actually did So Long Shlong Dupe first try, though, which is not easy to do. I ended up 2.5 minutes behind PB, but it was invalid, of course, because I had to use save states and load a save.
Well,
but
as that
another
one guy
time.
had said earlier, wouldn't be a GTA run without something going terribly wrong.
Yep. Alright. There's some alarms going off. Probably should go figure what that's about. 'Cause an alarm going off in a house is probably not a good thing. Goodbye.